Another edition of WTL World Team League 2024 Summer Code S Round 9, day number 1. I'm of course SI VIP, and with me I'm joined by these amazing players and the beautiful people in the chat. We're here with day 1 of round 9. We're a day early. As a reminder, typically WTL is over the weekend. Typically WTL is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but this week specifically we're a day early. We're winding it back a little bit. It's going to be a day early here Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. We are skipping Saturday for whatever reason. I'm not too sure why, but we are skipping Saturday instead, and we're looking to embrace StarCraft here a day early on this lovely Thursday night. And here we go. We have our first matchup. It's going to be Spirit versus Nanami. It's going to be Psystorm Na'Vi versus Mystery All Gamers. Oh boy, here we go again. The lineups are out, and we have quite a lineup. It's going to be Spirit, Max Pax, and Geralt up against Nanami, Kofi, and Cyan as they're going to be facing off. Again, Mystery All Gamers coming in as a bit of the underdogs here. I do have faith in both Kofi and Cyan. Nanami, though, is going to be an interesting first pick here for the team. Oh boy, has a lot to prove. Is more of an up-and-comer in the Chinese region. Is still yet to really prove themselves, and they have quite a challenge up ahead of us. Oh boy, they have one of the best Terrans in Europe. And here we go in the bottom left-hand corner. We have Nanami for Mystery All Gamers. And in the top right, we have Spirit for Psystorm Na'Vi. Here we go. Spirit rocking his new apartments, rocking the new setup here. Do love to see it. I could be mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Did he move like somewhere else, or is he in the same apartment just like with a different camera angle? I've yet to confirm, but ever since last week, we've noticed Spirit has got a different background. Does have a different background. We know, Papi. We noticed. But now we're settling in. As a reminder to the format of WTL, it's going to be a best of 7. It's going to be a full best of 7, but it is constructed by all of these individual best of 2s. We have 3 best of 2s lined up for us. If we are tied up 3-3 by the end of it, we will have a best of 1 ace match to determine the winner, to determine our champion here for at least this matchup for this round. We are going to be settling in. It is going to be an economic open out of Spirit. He's going for an eBay block across the map, but back at home it's going to be a Rax Expand setup, single gas opener out of Spirit. Meanwhile, Nanami going for a standard Gate Cyber Expand. So nothing too crazy out of our Protoss, and Spirit is just being a little bit greedier here early on. Not just greedier, but also looking to delay the expansion across the map of his opponent. So not a bad setup. I believe because of the eBay, we're going to be going factory before CC. We'll see if that's what we embrace, or if we still go for the command center. We'll keep an eye on Spirit. Meanwhile, Nanami forced to take the unnatural. Forced to expand at the third base location instead, as we did not scout in time. And the brutal thing about this kind of setup here is Spirit is indeed expanding back at home. But the brutal thing is you are now vulnerable. And because the Protoss player has to defend both the main base and the third base, we are going to be left exposed here to units like Hellions, Reapers, Cyclones as well. Early game aggression is now that much more viable and that much more potent from the side of Spirit. So we'll see if he can make use of it. We'll see if he chooses to, or if he chooses to be a little bit more passive and just, make his opponent uncomfortable and just get into a macro game. Spirit, he's known for his greed, he's known for his macro, at least in most matchups. We'll see if he embraces that here. Meanwhile, just scouting across the map, just trying to get a read on what's going on. No tech of choice yet from Nanami. And our eyes are on that probe. Interesting. Second gateway has been thrown down, and we'll see if we do embrace a proxy here with that scouting worker. For now, just easing our way into this to have our factory-based follow-up. Also, before I get ahead of myself, my apologies. Oh my god. Shout out to Baby Links in the chat as well. We did get a raid during the countdown screen. We did get a raid earlier, so thank you so much. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. I am clean, is what I will say. I'm clean, but yeah. We are settling in. We do have additional gateways on the way. Interesting setup here by Nanami. Interesting, as additional gateways are on the way. Do see Spirit fighting for map control. Alas, is going to bleed out all these Marines. It does try to target fire some of these Stalkers, but alas, will be cleaned up. Following it up with a 1-1-1. And if I'm not mistaken, Nanami still has not thrown down either a Stargate or a Twilight Council. I'm really perplexed and curious as to where this is going. Well, what are we cooking, Piper? What are we cooking? As yeah, we have a 3-gate opener back at home, and I guess a 4th gate across the map? Question mark? The pylon is done. And show us our production or our take of choice. I'm caught a little bit off guard, not gonna lie. caught a little bit off guard. There we go, we're gonna be reinforcing across the map. We're gonna be moving out initially with our 3, or I should say 6 stalkers. Are gonna be rallying back at home. Spirit is set up with bunkers, gonna be set up with our initial marines. Medevac's already on the way. We have finally a tech of choice in Nanami going for a robo opener across the map. Very safe play here by Nanami, but being overly aggressive here in the beginning. Does hit the natural, bunker is done. And boys are being pulled, and we do repair in time. Yeah, we get the master repair, Stalker's being target firing, and Spirit will hold. Meanwhile, across the map, or even, yeah, across the map, 2 probes go down. 2 workers did fall. Likewise with this repair, we shouldn't really be breaking this position either. And the bunker is holding nicely here in the Stalkers. We aren't losing too many, thankfully, but we do drop across the map. Yeah, Spirit, he has no fear, he goes right for the mineral line, going for the shield battery, forces a recall. Shield battery does, not go down. But we do at least keep our mineral line safe and sound. Alas, we drop back into the main. And damage is being done. This time, there's no shield battery in the mineral line. And probes are going down, and Ami getting pulled apart. 6 probe kills. Ay. 7 probe kills. Can we get 8? We can. Can we get 9? Not quite. Not quite 9 workers. I spoke too soon. It's going to cost us the full medevac. Bit of miscontrol there as we did stay a little bit too far within range. But 10 workers go down. That is still worth it for Spirit. It wasn't just 10 workers. It also forced the entire army to recall back home. That allows Spirit to get back into his 2-base economy, get into and settle into his own tank production as well. Spirit looking quite comfortable. Does look quite comfortable. He has an economic lead. He has the worker lead plus mules on top of that. And we are so well set up. Meanwhile, with the robot opener from Nanami, this can lead into a faster bay, can lead into a fast bay, into Colossus or Disruptors. That's kind of where I assume this is going, and there it is, the bay is on the way, so we're working towards some splash damage, but until we get our Colossus up and running, Nanami is vulnerable. Oh boy. It is going to be quite vulnerable here. As a Spirit is just going to be able to settle in back at home. We have upgrades on the way, +1, a stim, 30 season production as well. Meanwhile, across the map, Spirit setting up for his Raven harass. And just waiting to hit his timing. We're just waiting for all these upgrades to kick in before Spirit can move out across the map. Until then, Nanami does have breathing room, true. Does have some breathing room. We are going to be settling in. Yeah, auto turret does dive into the main base. 2 auto turrets, even probes are going down. 5 worker kills here in the main. The Raven barely does survive as well, and there's no way to chase. Remember, there's no Twilight Council, there's no blink. We cannot keep up. Instead, we do see Nanami going for his own drop across the map, but we have a tank within range. Bio army not too far away either. And we do deflect the drop. This game looking a little bit bleak here for Nanami. I do want to believe that we can somehow bounce back in this game. I would have said that if we had gone for Disruptor first, then maybe we can pop off. Actually, not the first time we've seen it. This week even, we've had many a PvT where a Protoss player is down 30, 40, 50 army supply, and then we land like 3 good Novas, and then we win. Like, it's happened actually quite frequently this week, involving players like Max Pax or players like Trap, Classic, some of our other Korean Protosses, and of the like. Master is another one, the Brazilian Protoss. There are ways to bounce back, but alas, we're relying on Colossus, which is a more consistent form of splash damage, but we are being overwhelmed. Yeah, the tanks, they do siege up. We collapse on the main army. There's barely any support for the Colossus. And we get caught out of the open, and Spirit is stimming on forward. We do have an overcharge. We do have a shield battery here at the 3rd base. Spirit rotating over at the same time. Nanami does hit the natural. Going for the main. Going for the middle line, and some SCVs are getting picked off. Not bad. We got 4 SCVs across the map. 5 SCVs even. But can we hold? That is the question. Big tank volleys going off. And Nanami just cut off from his own natural. Nexus under fire, reinforcements on the way. And Spirit is just snowballing out of control with this. The Colossus are looking so exposed. The boys are being pulled. They have to be. And they are all going down, and there's still just not enough to support this army. The Colossus, they go down one after the other. That's all we had left. We have 1 more Colossus coming out. We still have plenty of Bio, plenty of Marines, plenty of Marauders, even the 1 Viking as well going ham. And how can we engage? How can we even save the third base? We cannot. GG gets called and Spirit takes game number 1. GG, well played. A solid game there out of Spirit. An interesting game out of Nanami is what I will say. As a reminder, Nami went for a triple gate opener. Oh my god. Spirit is best of 2. Come back. Okay. Okay, hold on. I got you. As we did lose Spirit for a moment there. But yeah, Nanami did go for a 3-gate opener, which was interesting to say the least. It was designed to be aggressive, but we unfortunately didn't really get much damage done. If you remember, with a 3-gate opener, we got, I want to say 2 SCVs. I want to say 2 SCV kills and not much else. We were Platinum R8 versus Shopify. But here we go. We're jumping in the top left-hand corner. We have Nanami for Mystery All Gamers. And in the bottom right, we have Spirit for Psystorm Navi. But yeah, we're going to be featuring Lambo and Scarlet later on. So we have some Zerg players for you later on in the evening. Don't worry. We got them. For now, we are focusing on Mystery versus Psystorm. Again, Spirit is coming in as the heavy favorites, but that's why Nanami can come out of left field and come out with something more prepared. You know, we can pull a bit of a Starving Camels, if you will. If you recall, Starving Camels, they were infamously known a year ago for being able to take down some big names, players like Maru, players like Serral, players like Raynor, with some like hyper specialized builds and just pop off in the team league in WTL. Good times. good times, sorry. Good times. Typically, they would come in with a prepared build for Game 2. For those that are curious, it is loser's pick, so Nanami lost Game 1, and Nanami does have a map prepared for Spirit coming into Game number 2. And this does give them give the losing player the opportunity to bounce back with something a little bit more specialized, something a little bit more prepared, and does often work, actually. Does often work. That's why here in WTL, we have upsets more often than not. We get a lot more upsets in WTL thanks to that. Thanks to the lack of veto process. Allows us to feature some maps that we often don't see. Maps like Post Youth, maps like Dynasty, maps like Crimson Court, Amphion as well. Maps that are often vetoed, and we're able to cover them a lot more often here in WTL. Which I do appreciate. Do appreciate it, man. Now we are going to be settling in. Once again, we're going to be seeing a Rax expand into a factory. So, economic opener out of Spirit. This time it is safer though, so clearly Spirit, he's respecting Nanami. He's a little bit concerned as well, which is why he goes for the CC on the high ground instead of on the low ground. So, a bit safer play here out of Spirit. A little bit concerned of potentially a proxy or early game aggression. And we can see this time, oh, a Twilight Council opener. Okay. Much earlier Twilight Council here out of Nanami. So, what do you have for us? What do you got? With that Twilight Council, we could try to go into Blink, and we can try to work with additional gateways. We could try to spice things up and go for a Dark Shrine opener instead. I'm curious. For now, we have a second gateway in production. So when it comes to Blink Stalkers, we do have different variations of the build. It could be 2-gate Blink, 3-gate Blink, or even 4-gate Blink Stalkers. Each one different level of aggression, different level of greed. That does threaten the shade. Still just a 2-gate setup for Nanami. Just keeping an eye on the gateway count. Just on patrol, trying to fade out that mine shot if possible as well. Rober's on the way. And we may just opt to go 2-gate Blink into a third. We could just go for something more economic. To have the option. Yep, there it is. Third base is on the way for Nanami, so we are just going to be calming things down. No early game aggression, no crazy cheese. Unfortunately, we do miss the move out. Uh-oh. Nanami should have spotted this, but alas, the Adept was out of position, and Nanami does not see the main army just moving out across the map, heading towards the third base. The goal is to deny the third, maybe even get more than that. And Nanami is just not ready for this. Oh boy. Is not ready. The army has arrived. We're going for the Nexus. Stalker's going to respond, but they're going to be zoned away by that Widow Mine. Probe is coming in. But we do retargets. We do on Burrow as well. Clutch micro there from Spirit does save the Widowmine. And Widowmine does a one-shot Stalkers. And we're going to have to give one up. Yes. Oof. 2 blink in time, but 1 Stalker goes down the blink. Not in time. Yeah, we locked down another Stalker. We're down to 3. Now we're up to 2 Cyclones. And Nanami is struggling to hold on. We catch almost another Stalker. And 4th Stalker on the way. And the Locals are brutal. We barely do escape. We barely do get away. The base does survive for the time being, but it's getting so low. And we're still just rallying across the map. Spirit, he's going for the kill. Catches the Stalker. Down to 4. 4 Stalkers remaining. The base does go down. That's 400 minerals down the drain. And Spirit can keep on pushing. There's no shield battery. Oh my god. Brutal. No shield battery. We do rotate over towards the right-hand side. More Stalkers going down. And Spirit may just end the game with this push. And the Immortal cannot engage. The freedom is here. We have too much freedom, Pappy. Just a bit too much freedom as we do force back the army. Spirit could have tried to keep on going, but does pull back for now. Nanami going for a counterattack, but alas, lost so much in the process. So many Stalkers went down the 3rd base as well. And Spirit was not all in. Spirit has a 3rd CC on the way. The TC is on the way. We do catch 2 of these Cyclones. One of them barely escapes. Oh my god, that made it getting so low. So low, but. And as the dust does settle, Spirit does have the economic advantage. You may look at this and see Nanami is up in workers, true, but Spirit has mules, so still has a better economy. Likewise, that 3rd CC is already done, morphing into soon to be an orbital. Soon to be landed on location. And the pressure is on Nanami to fight back. For now, just going to try and contain his opponents. Ideally, we delay the 3rd. We can delay the 3rd base. We can contain Spirit on 2 bases for as long as we can. Take our own 3rd base. I'm going to try and dive into the main. Risky move. Do blink in. Do blink in. Tank is in position. We catch the Observer. Observer is going to go down. And we even catch some of these Stalkers. 1, 2 Stalkers falling. Ay, ay, ay. Unfortunately, Nanami not getting much damage done in the main. Now here comes the 2nd wave. And this is lined up with all these upgrades. Combat Shield's just finished. Stim is going to finish up in 10 seconds, so it's +1. It's all lined up by the time the army moves out across the map. By the time it gets to the 3rd base, we will have everything we need. And Nanami is up against the wall. We do have a Colossus. We have Force Fields. Force Fields can try to slice up the army and try to pick this army apart. But the tanks, they do siege up. And they're slowly encroaching upon the 3rd. And the tanks are pushing forward. And Nanami just cannot push into this, cannot engage. Shield Fighter is going to be going down, trying to bait the army into tank fire. That big tank volley is going to be going off. We do manage to pick off 2 of these tanks, not bad. 2 tanks go down. But now we can trade with those Stalkers. They come in just in time. Nanami, he's holding. Is going to be holding on. Does force us back, does save the 3rd base. We survive. Let's go. Spirit has to back off, calm down a little bit. We're done with tank production, getting into Widowmines, getting into Vikings. Getting into those Vikings instead. And Nanami is on the road to recovery here. We're still not quite there yet. We're still, I would say, behind. But now we're taking a 4th. If we can stabilize on 4 bases, if we can get up to a triple Colossus count into Disruptors, we can bounce back. Or likewise, if Spirit overextends. Has to be careful with this move out. The ghosts are revealed. Drop into the natural. Nami not quite in position. Does react in time, does pull away. We catch 5 probes, recalling on over. Spirit not quite there to dive in. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, Angry Bird. Sorry. I saw Papa Panda earlier say IG, so I thought it was Instagram, but no. In-game. I see. So angry. Zelrombai is going to be caught out. So we are reaching that kind of critical mass of Colossus, true. Do have the 3 Colossus. Second Robo's on the way. I imagine we're getting ready for Disruptors, and I'm getting a bit of deja vu here. As we mentioned before, I believe it was in Game 1, we have seen plenty of games, even recently here, where a Protoss player can be down heavily in supply, but with the power of Disruptors, we can fight back. We can make up for it. So with good enough control, Nanami can actually out-trade Spirit. It is possible. It is going to be possible. As Disruptors are on the way. Likewise, Spirit getting into his 4-base setup. Working towards our AG worker counts. So we have the ideal economy and soon to be maxing out as well. And once again, it's going to be on Nanami to be the defender, to kind of weather the storm, absorb some of these blows, get into a longer game. Still just the 1 Disruptor with the main army. Just the 1 Disruptor so far. 2 more on the way. Nami setting up a counterattack. Taking a 5th base as well. So far, unscattered. Spirit not quite in position to try and deny it. Not yet. This run by is going to buy time. Getting SCVs, getting depots. Spirit does scan ahead of time. Wisely so. Doesn't walk into Disruptors, not yet. But he does spot the army, and Nami is maxing out. Now again, Spirit has the economy to trade. That is true. So Nanami has to be very efficient here in this next engagement. Gorosei take the lead. Nice EMPs. EMPs on the Stalkers. Vikings, they go ham. They almost taking the Colossus. Overcharge is popped. We still hold on to those Novas. I appreciate how patient Nanami is being. Big Zealot counterattack does hit the 3rd base. 12 SCVs go down. Not bad. We're catching reinforcements. 12 SCVs at the same time. Nanami engaging with the main army. He's going to be pushing in. Colossus still have not fallen. It's a lot of Marauders. First Nova goes off. We have 2 more left. 2 more Novas remaining. Yeah, I do apologize for some of the stutterings. The clean feed is sometimes a little bit dirty, and I think the observers have noticed. I think the in-game observer is lagging a little bit. But here we go. We do have towards the left-hand side. We dive on the fresh base. We're in position. Zell say keep up and show us those Novas. Up. First one, listen. I just show us the Novas, Pappy. We got it. The Zell's doing damage. But Spirit, he does pull back. Nanami is holding his own. We hunt down a ghost. Nicely done. The army is overstimmed. And Zelsay just keep on going. Let's go. Yeah, Spirit is being chased down. At the same time, we shut down most of the Vikings. Every single Viking, actually. Spirit. His attention was elsewhere. All the Vikings went down. The Colossus still stands strong. But Liberators are on the way. And they're moving out to counterattack, moving out to harass. And Nanami going right down mid. Going straight for the 3rd. Spirit down in supply. For the first time in a long time. Oh, do we come back home, though, or do we go for a base trade? The armies, they completely miss each other. Now we're coming back. And an army does race back home. Spirit, likewise, doing something similar. 12 probes go down. And an army throws out a Dark Shrine and a Stargate. Sky Toss on the horizon here. Okay. Another Colossus. We're caught out of position. 1 Colossus goes down. A rough moment there for Nanami. Oh, and probes are still falling. We have not cleaned up those. Oh, we haven't cleaned up the libs. Liberators, they get 17 worker kills. And really, that's why we have the Stargate on the way to help deal with those Liberators. Ay, ay, ay. Speaking of, here comes that freedom. And this is why we need that Sky Toss. Once we get up to this amount of Liberators, how do you deal with this without something like Tempest or Carrier? The goal, the idea would be to outposition these Libs. Like so, try to pick them up. Spirit getting up the ramp. It does outposition Nanami. The Liberation Zone's being set up. We're going to try and force our way in. Novas, they don't connect. Yeah, not quite. They zone away the army. We're getting on top of the Liberators, but the Colossus are going down. We get some decent connections. We get some decent connections, but it looks like the Marauders, they focus on as many disruptors as they can. That was, what, 5 disruptors going down. Ay. A rough trade for Nanami. And here comes that freedom. It's here. Probes are falling. And how do we... what's our answer? What is our answer here? As with denying so much mine time, 31 probes going down. Barely any mining, barely any economy. And you can see that reflected here in the supplies. Honestly, if it wasn't for these Liberators, then Nanami would still be in this. We'd see a pretty similar back and forth between Nanami and Spirit. Very impressed by how Nanami was able to bounce back in this game, but unfortunately was just outscaled and out-teched specifically. Yeah, now we're going for a Hail Mary play. Move out across the map. Only 1 disruptor. It's not going to be enough. And Spirit will shut this down, will hold. But again, I'm impressed. Was impressed here. As despite the otherwise deficits that we had earlier, Nanami did fight hard here to bounce back. But GG gets called in. Spirit will take game number 2. GG. Spirit will take the series 2-0. Nanami will take the loss. But again, I hope Nanami isn't feeling too bad about that, especially game 2. Game 1 was more brutal. Game 1 was a little bit more one-sided. Game is going to be on Ghost River. MaxPax deserves a higher ELO. ELO is calculated. It is. There's no bias behind it. Just pure number. But here we go. We have in top left Coffee for Mystery Old Gamers. In top right, we have MaxPax for Psystorm Navi. But the ELO is calculated depending on how many wins and losses you get throughout a season. Just as a heads up. And it does start at 500 by default. Starts at 500, then it goes up and down depending on your results. I think it was last season where Maru had a higher ELO than Serral. That's because Maru was performing better in WTL. I should also reiterate that specifically the ELO is in regards to your performance specifically in WTL, not in other events. It's specific for WTL related events. So World Team League, Kung Fu Cup, Masters Coliseum, for example. So if you're curious as to where that number comes from, is from these specific events. But here we go. We are going to be selling in. For now, looks like a more economic opener here by Coffee, going for a Rax expand. So far so good. Everything's looking as it should here, setting up for an expansion. Meanwhile, MaxPax back at home, going for his Gate Cyber into Nexus. So standard opener out of MaxPax, more economic start out of Coffee. Go. Is going for that more economic start. Interesting position with the CC. It's very far in the back line, and it will get scattered. Will get confirmed. It looks like Coffee was trying to go for some mind games here, as that is a very far back position for the CC. It's right next to the main. Designed to try to hide it from MaxPax, but alas, unable to, and is going to be seen. This is going to work against Coffee, because now it means it's going to take even longer to actually move out and land on location. So slightly more inefficient, as we're settling into our factory. Coffee going for his factory follow-up. And interesting, okay, we have a Twilight Council open out of MaxPax. This is what we expect to see on this map. For those that are curious, because the map is so small, because the rush distance is so short, Stargate openers are considered to be unsafe. Very unsafe and very risky to go Stargate, just because you are vulnerable to early game aggression. So going for a Twilight Council does make sense, and we should be seeing additional gateways. Not just 2, I'm talking 3, maybe even 4. But at least 3 gates, just to be safe as well. So we'll see how safe or how greedy MaxPax wants to be. Adept does shade into the main, gets a full scout. Second Adept has arrived, and we see everything in the main base. Getting one SCV kill. Not the best trade for the Adept. What matters more is the scouting. As we're getting eyes on the add-ons, getting eyes on the production. Continue, or we did get eyes on the 111. Marine Hellion, and the medevac is on the way. So we know there's no crazy early tech lab for a fast tank push, or any tech lab on the starport. We are able to cross off some more aggressive openers. And there it is. Do you see on the production tab? It is not a 3-gate blink. It is 4-gate blink. 4 gateways on the way. Hyper aggression here out of MaxPax. Looking to turn the tables on Coffee. I mean, MaxPax, he was known for 4-gate blink for a very long time. And wait, is that a 5th gateway? Wait, what? Oh, I think he's walling off. Okay. I think the 5th gateway is just to fully wall off, just to make sure he doesn't have to worry about protecting his natural. And he should be canceling that 5th gate. Once he has enough to hold on. Just waiting for extra warp ins. Meanwhile, the Hellions, they do drop over the wall. They're going for the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down. We got 3 workers so far. But just the 3. Hellions are forced back. You can see the 5th gateway was cancelled at the natural. Again, it was just a wall off. And we do catch some extra workers in the main. Not too bad. 7 probes. Oh my god, 8 probes. 8 probes for 3 Hellions. Not bad. Not a bad trade there from Coffee. More importantly, Coffee did see most of the gateways. He saw at least 3 gates. He might have seen all 4, so he knows. He knows he has to get ready back at home. There we go. Bunkers on the way. Tanks are on the way. He's aware of how aggressive, how committed MaxPax is. Knowing is half the battle there. Can we survive? Can we defend? So here comes MaxPax, warping in 4 stalkers at a time. And we have a tank covering the ramp, but the main base is vulnerable. Yeah, the tank moves down to the low ground. We're not ready in the main base. Massive warp in as well. We deny the production. Boys are being pulled, and this is already becoming too much. And it's going to get even more out of hand. Tanks are leapfrogging forward. Raven harass across the map. Nicely done. And the tanks will force MaxPax out. Coffee, he's holding. But now he is holding on. MaxPax rotates. Bunker is left unattended. Getting behind the mineral line. Another warp into the main base. MaxPax going for a split push. Hitting both the natural and the main base at the same time. More SCVs falling. 8 worker kills. And we're just pulling Coffee apart. We dive on the tank. Does get targeted. The SCVs, they're going to be stuck as they were trying to repair the tank. And so many of them going to be going down. I believe there's only 1 tank left on the low ground. And this is game-ending damage. Yeah, far too much. Another big warp in. And GG gets called. MaxPax will take game number 1. GG, well played. Again, MaxPax making use of the map to his advantage. We spoke about this earlier, but Ghost River, it's known. And here we go in the bottom right-hand corner. We do have Coffee for Mystery All Gamers. In the top left, we do have MaxPax for Psystorm Na'Vi. Here we go. Are selling into game 2. And we'll see where this takes us here. Again, we saw aggression out of MaxPax in game 1. I expect MaxPax to calm things down a little bit here. I expect if it is going to be blink, 2 or 3 gateways, I'm not really feeling going up to 4 gates again, but we'll keep an eye on MaxPax. He could be feeling frisky tonight. True. Could be frisky, papi. Coffee is going to be opening up. But now it is going to be a single gas opener. So once again, it's going to be an economic start out of Coffee. This can lead into a 3 racks. So that's going to be another kind of form of aggression that can follow up this otherwise economic start. Keep an eye on Coffee. As MaxPax being as annoying as possible. Again, MaxPax has been on fire as of late. Last night, of course, MaxPax was our Kung Fu Cup champion. I do recommend watching the VODs. We had a lot of amazing matches. MaxPax even had a good performance against Clem in the, I think it was the semifinals, if I remember correctly. The semis or in the quarterfinals. It did face off. Once again, this is a interesting quirk from Coffee. I don't know if you noticed. So once again, it was a Rax expand from Coffee, but he throws down the CC next to his main. Like, it's really far back. Did the same thing on Ghost River. This time it's not going to be scouted by the probe, so there is that at least. So it is hidden. But yeah, it's an interesting kind of quirk or something unique to Coffee that we're seeing here. Meanwhile, Coffee does find the pylon, does force a cancel. Nicely done. Deters the initial aggression. As we mentioned in game number 1, I'm pretty sure the purpose of this is to keep it hidden, to make it more difficult to scout, to make it look like he's going for something more aggressive than he is. And that's going to be a 3cc! Let's go! Okay. It's going to be a 3cc, 3 racks by Coffee. No, my apologies. Not even. That's a 3rd CC after the factory. Okay. Coffee. He's cooking. You have my attention. CC now going to be floating over, but a very greedy build here by Coffee. Very greedy. And we'll see if he can keep it hidden. So I do appreciate this, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people assume that Coffee would be embracing, and even I would assume that Coffee would be embracing, you know, cheese and aggression and an all-in. Why not cheese the other way and just be hyper greedy? True. I do appreciate it. Aliens move out. They get met by a wall. They get 1 probe kill before pulling back. It's going to be another blink-based opener here by Max Packs. We do have a 1 gateway already done, 2 gates on the way, so it's 3-gate blink for the time being. Never mind, it's 4-gate. So things are looking rough. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is a 4-gate blink setup once again, unless we just cancel the 4th gateway. It's either 3 or 4 gates. It's 4 gates, yeah. 2 gateways on low ground, 2 gateways in the main base, 4-gate blink once again by Max Packs. And the worrisome thing about this is that Coffee, as we just mentioned, is greedy. He has a 3rd. He has a 3rd base. He's delaying a little of his army supply here in favor of that 3rd CC. And that means he's going to have even less to defend. For now, he's trading, bleeding out a Cyclone for Stalker, a 1-to-1 trade. But alas, we can afford to lose some Stalkers early on as we're moving out. Adept does shade into the main, and we get eyes on the 3rd CC! Max Packs, he sees everything. He sees all, he knows all, and Max Packs, he should be pushing. We should be committing. Oh boy. This time, Coffee doesn't get confirmation of the gateways. He doesn't know how many there are. He can assume that there are 4. Bunkers on the way, tank on the low ground. We're looking quite secure, at least at the natural. But what about the main? Oh, Cyclone goes down. Big reaction there out of Coffee. Wasn't able to save it in time. Wasn't able to pull back. And here come the reinforcements. And we're going for the main, Papi. We're going for the main. Now, thankfully, there is a 2nd tank. Is in position. Big tank volley goes off. We don't care. We just don't even care. We just go for the dive anyway. Tank goes down. Stutter stepping back. We will force the army out of the main, but here come reinforcements. As Max Packs does a blink back. And can go for another warp in and go back in. Behind this, Max Packs is expanding. As a reminder, I should also emphasize, 4-gate blink is not an all-in. It is aggressive, yes, but we do expand behind it. 3rd base already done. We're diving into the low ground. The tank is exposed. Tank goes down. And we are pulling Coffee apart. The tank, the bunkers. Down to Pele Marines. As a reminder, these are vanilla Marines. No stim, no combat shields. And we can just bully the Marines back. Boys, they have to be pulled. Another massive warp in. Again, 4 Stalkers at a time. The Prism is going to be targeted. Not bad. Prism did overextend, but yeah, it's still an uphill battle, Papi. The damage was still done. GG gets called, and Max Packs will take the 2-0. GG, well played with that. Sidestorm Na'Vi will claim the series. So on the one hand, like, I appreciate the build of Coffee here in game 2. I think it was bold, and I liked that it was working against expectations, being greedy instead. Unfortunately, Max Packs just had no chill today, and both games in a row, just 4-gate blink. Just 4-gate blink, 2 games in a row. And we'll see if he can get that 2-0. As for the time being, in the top left-hand corner, we have Lancer for Mystery All Gamers. And in the bottom left, we have Geralt for Sidestorm Na'Vi. Go. Hopefully my bad jokes don't make your sleep worse. Nah. Your jokes are bad. They are bad, Bobby. They are. True. They give me nightmares. Ahí está. For now, we're going to be embracing our PvP on Amphion, and I was about to get into the features of this map and why this map is a little bit more unique than others. Our reasoning for it is the ramp coming into the natural, but Geralt here avoids the ramp. It is going to be a gate expand setup here by Lancer, and Geralt going for the 2-gate opener on the high ground. Interesting. Geralt just kind of, in a way, saying no to the meta, saying no to these more economic tendencies on Amphion, which means Geralt is going to be the aggressor. Okay. As we can see here, 2-gate opener out of Geralt. Geralt now has the option to go for a 1-base all-in. Has the opportunity to go for a proxy. As Lancer is setting up for a faster expansion. We have our 2-gas setup. Cybercore is on the way. Lancer should be going for a Stargate before the Nexus, assuming the probe doesn't deny. So we'll see how greedy Lancer is going to be. This is essentially like the quote-unquote max packs opener. It's just kind of the standard opener that you would see on a map like Amphion, Post-Youth, Site Delta as well. These maps that have a ramp coming into the natural. Really, more than anything, my eyes are on Geralt. Like, are we going to be opting to be aggressive here? As we got another pylon block. Pylon is thrown down. We force out the Zell. We should be forcing out a Stargate as well. As we have to spend our money somehow in some way. Ooh, the probe gets caught. Lancer not happy there on cams. Does shake his head. Probe does go down. That's brutal because, again, that worker, it wasn't really meant to be there to harass more than anything to scout. To scout, get a read on the first 2 units, get a read on whether or not we even try to expand. So Lancer is in the dark. Nexus on the way. I believe Lancer did skip the Stargate, so just straight up Nexus. Meanwhile, Geralt looks like it will expand as well, so is not opting to respond with an all-in. And Lancer's tech of choice going for a Robo instead of the Stargate. With the Robo opener, if we can embrace Immortals, we can be quite defensive. If there was an all-in, we could shut it down. Would be better setup to shut it down. The downside is that the Robo opener doesn't allow us to be as maneuverable as other openers would. You know, delayed blink, essentially. Blink is going to be delayed. We may just skip it entirely. Meanwhile, Twilight Council opener out of Geralt. So Blink versus Immortals. Lancer does poke in. Does confirm the expansion. Is now aware. Threatens the pylon. And may try to trade with the Stalkers. Our last second sentry has arrived. Shield battery finish in time. We can get 1 sentry. Not bad. Trading a Zealot for a sentry. Lancer pulls away, going for the Prism first. Will allow us to micro across the map to warp into depths, get into mineral lines. Speaking of, the adepts are on the way. So Lancer is going to attempt to harass. So not going for anything too aggressive, just moving to harass across the map, get into mineral lines, pick off workers, while he builds up and gets into a longer game. Likewise, Geralt embracing Blink. And interesting, we're going to have 4 adepts. 2 at the natural and 2 in the main. And 2 adepts do one-shot workers. Despite the shield battery, doesn't matter. And we do shade in. Oof, don't quite commit. Keeping Geralt distracted. We do slip into the main base instead. Geralt does get eyes on this. Blink not yet done. Probes are going down. We get 3. We get 4 workers already. We get 5. 5, barely not 6. But not a bad start. And we just shade into the natural as well. We're pulling Geralt apart. 7, 8 probe kills. Getting a 9th probe as well. We can even get a 10th. Oh, the Prism Doll! Ah, Lancer. Again, we did well initially, but we came back in a little bit too greedy, and Lancer the Prism gets shut down. Suddenly, this is that much less worth it. Things were looking amazing, things were looking good, and Lancer just a little bit too greedy towards the end there. Geralt shuts down the Prism. What does that mean? That means we have nothing to worry about. There's nothing keeping Geralt back at home, nothing threatening him, and we can go for a massive counterattack. Blink is done, and Geralt looking to dive into the natural. Gets the probe. Doesn't get much more than that. Immortals are in position. Lancer does hold. That was a lot of energy. Third base being taken. Now Lancer does establish his third base that much faster. It's already done. As a result, Lancer does have the higher economy, does have the better economy. 53 workers. Yeah, we're getting a full 3-base saturation here for Lancer. Building up his immortal count, catching up on Blink, +1. So it wasn't just Lancer getting economic damage earlier, it was also taking advantage of his map control and expanding. Expanding, taking a much faster third base. Even going for a Dark Shrine, okay. Dark Shrine's on the way. Meanwhile, Geralt's embracing Glaives. Glaive Adepts, again, they've been quite common as of late. Quite popular to incorporate with your immortal-based army. We're going to try and embrace those Glaive Adepts. They can trade okay against Zealots. More importantly, they can shade past an army. They can thread mineral lines at the same time. They can outmaneuver a defending Protoss. We'll see how Geralt does with it. Until then, Lancer is still enjoying a nice supply lead. Did lose the Prism earlier, but still looking strong. So he's up to 4 Immortals. Dark Shrine about to finish. We do have the robot for Geralt, so we have access to detection. I believe we should have at least an observer out on the map. At least I hope so. Lancer is building up. Likewise, so is Geralt. Here the observer's out on the right-hand side. But I don't think Geralt can really do too much here. That is going to be a lot of adepts, though. We're beginning 8 adepts at a time. Adepts going to be threatening a shade at the same time. Workers are going down. And not DTs, just more adepts. And again, they're doing quite a lot here. 6 more probes going down. Geralt's that much more committed. Getting 8 probes. Oh my god. His attention is being pulled apart. DT's now morphing in. We're going to hit the main. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Lancer. Geralt, he's on a timer in that window. It's closing. And here we go, DT's right into the main. I mean, our economy was already in shambles, and now even more so. And probes are falling left and right, nothing in position to defend, forcing a recall. The army, the observer, is recalled back home. We got 12 more probe kills. Geralt's economy is in shambles, and Lancer is moving out across the map, going for the kill, going for the throat. Another warp in. More DTs. Lancer has to be careful to overextend. Has to make sure he moves in with those Immortals. Likewise, Observer had a position. Moving over, that's going to be 23 worker kills. Overcharge is popped. Adepts trying to dive on the army, but again, there's still just so much to work with. Just a wave of Stalkers, 4 Immortals as well. The Adepts, they do nothing. They melt. In a head-to-head fight, they just cannot hold a candle. Not to this army. Not anymore. DTs are still wreaking havoc, and Geralt, he's completely pulled apart. GG gets called, and Lancer takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Ah. GG, well played. Lancer does take the first game. And honestly, it was looking quite good there. I mean, sure, there was the overextension of the prism, for example. Here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. Sorry, top left, we have Lancer for Mystery All Gamers. And in the bottom right, we have Geralt for Psystorm Na'Vi. Let's go. Just step in there, 1v1 Lancer, put him back in his place. But I'm cheering for him. I like him, Bobby. What do you mean? He's where he should be. Ay, ay, ay. As we are going to be setting up. Going for our initial 2 gate openers. Hey, Lancer, he's got the power of the weeaboos behind him. Well, what can I do? For those that are curious, we did find out recently that Lancer, of course, he used to go by Cyan, and he did go for this name change. And Lancer, the name, does come from an anime. Do have confirmation. Does come from an anime. So I'm sure there's a lot of anime enjoyers out there that can relate. Can relate with Lancer. The weebs, Pappy. The uniting. He's harnessing the power of the waifu as we speak. As we speak. I think you said Lancer's from like an anime called, I think is it Grand Fate? I think you said Fate? Grand Fate. That one. Whatever that one is. Did Geralt's mustache come from anime? I'm sure it did. I'm sure. And now it's gone, Spappy. He's abandoned us. Oh no. Anime, the oldest, most powerful eldritch being. True, true. Not wrong. As Lancer does set up a proxy pylon. Just getting into our PvP here, it's going to be 2 gate openers all around. Double Stalker out of Geralt, double Stalker out of Lancer, but Lancer does hide his probe towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map at the goal-based location. I'm curious if this is going to be for a proxy Stargate or just a fake proxy pylon to get into the head of Geralt. As Geralt is scouting, is looking for where that pylon could be. Does check his linear 4th base. It hasn't gone any further. Probe is going to be shut down. Probe is going to be shut down. Geralt on the hunt. It looks like he will find it. Just barely. Just barely. The probe is not denied. We do scout the pylon. We confirm there is nothing there. And Geralt is now aware that, of course, his opponent did go for a fake out, did go for a standard opener. Just confirm the expansion as well. And that is a Robo on the way for Geralt. Robo for Nexus. But we'll expand. Okay, okay. I was curious if Geralt was going to throw down the 3rd gateway and just go all in, but we are expanding. We're calming things down. And we have pretty similar setups. Both players are working towards Robotech. Both players, of course, expanding. And Geralt does have the faster Robo. With that, we can, of course, embrace a faster Prism. And there it is. Prism is on the way. And similarly to last game, we can use that War Prism to get into the main base and to get some Adept Harass going. So we'll see if Lancer can survive the aggression, if he can minimize losses and do what Geralt could not in the previous game. Pressure is on. Back at home, Lancer going Immortal first. Not going for the Prism yet. So War Prism is moving out across the map. Yeah. Shout out to Iceland. Posted the explanation on Discord some days ago. Yeah. Iceland. I remember because I'm pretty sure Iceland, he posted it. He's like, oh, but just so you know, I don't watch anime. As he was sweating. He was so whatever you say, Iceland, whatever you say. Like, I just happened to come across this information. I don't know what they're saying, though. I don't understand. I don't know, Pappy. I don't know. Whatever you say, Iceland, whatever you say. Exactly. They listed off anime that he's watched. As for now, we're calming things down. We're getting into our 2-base setup. Here. Initial immortal production, of course, into Temple Archives for Blink. And Geralt still has that prism out on the map, but has yet to really commit into a mineral line, into a base. Still just looking for a way in. Lancer was in position. Likewise rotating over. Adepts have arrived. Oh, and are going to be forced back. So far, so good. Lancer, he denies any kind of War Prism harass. And is now taking a third. Now, what I will say, even though we haven't lost any workers yet, the War Prism is still alive, the Adepts are still there, Geralt still has potential for some damage. Can still pop off. As time goes on, it's a little bit less likely, but still has that potential. As both players are calming down. And we're calming things down, a bit of a gentleman's agreement here, no early game aggression. We're settling into our 2 and then 3 bases, taking up. Blink +1. A Forge is delayed for Geralt, so there's going to be a window where Lancer has the upgrade lead and has the upgrade advantage. That is true. That is true. Oh my god. For a moment there, I don't know if you saw, but Geralt did throw down a Bay. Did cancel it. I was about to pop off. I was like, oh my, he's crazy. Rushing into Disruptors. He's not crazy, unfortunately. Does cancel the Bay. Still committed to Blink Stalker Immortal. No Bay anymore. Armies do clash. Observer gets caught out. Lancer does have map control. Going for an Immortal drop into the main. 2 Immortals do one-shot probes. We can even go for pylons. That is Nartos' pylon. Uh-oh. It's looking pretty juicy. We're going for it. Yeah, the pylon's under fire. Blink is done in 5 seconds, and it looks like it will not finish. Oh, we deny Blink. We deny +1, at least for now. We do delay the upgrades. Oh, the Forge is targeted. And that window where we have that +1 advantage is going to be even greater here for Lancer. He starts +2. And we have to restart +1. Ay. Geralt has to start off from scratch. Now Blink will complete. Again, that was so close. Like, it was 2 seconds away. It was so close, buddy. Go for the dive. Up. Not quite. Prism is safe. Lancer does hold. Moving out with 3 Immortals. Lancer rotating over, moving towards that natural. Do we have any shield batteries? The Bay is now about to finish off for Geralt. Is a way to come back in this game. To recover. For now, the choke win is brutal. Force was a third down. Geralt is buying time. Oh, that's 4 Immortals. That's insane. Once again, nice force fields. Zoning back the army. Extra reinforcements. The Bay just finished. We have the first Disruptor in production. Can we buy time to actually bring it out? Yeah, we down with the reinforcements. Immortal's going to go down. Same can be said here for Lancer. But he does outposition his opponent. Diving on that final Immortal. It's going to fall as well. And Geralt just doesn't have enough. Doesn't have the numbers. We have the Overcharge, but the army's out of position. Overcharge not really coming into play. We sniped the Prism, but it's just too little too late. GG gets called. The Disruptor does not arrive, and Lancer will take the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Again, Lancer is the ace player for Mystery All Gamers. If there was anyone to put some points on the board, it would be Lancer. He does take down Geralt 2-0, and he does at least redeem himself and his team somewhat here against Psystorm Na'Vi. GG, well played. Psystorm Na'Vi, of course, they will still claim the series, but it was not completely one-sided. Thankfully, it was a 4-2. Was a 4-2 instead. And with that, we are going to be going on a short break. The first series is done, and we're getting ready for Shopify Rebellion versus Platinum R8. Oh boy, another best of 7. If you are maybe a Zerg fan, if you're missing some Zerg gameplay, we had none of it in this best of 7. But up next, we're going to be having Lambo, Bjorn, and Scarlet up against Nicarat, Goblin, and Kelazur. Oh boy. So some spicy matches coming up ahead of us. We'll be back in 4 minutes after this break. See you then. Oh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second matchup of the night. Welcome back to WTL World Team League. WTL Summer 2024 Code S Round 9 Day Number 1. I'm Coach Side VIP, and with me we have our amazing players lined up here. We just wrapped up with Mystery All Gamers versus Sidestorm Na'Vi, and now we are back with Shopify Rebellion versus Platinum R8. Oh boy, we finally get to embrace some Zerg action. Earlier we had plenty of Protoss, plenty of Terran, and finally we get some Zerg gameplay. It's amazing. It is beautiful. I was thrown off a little bit. We didn't get the intro. We didn't get the intro, Papi, unfortunately, but we have our players ready nonetheless. Up first, Nickrat versus Lambo. Let us go. We have our TVZ. Game 1 is going to be in Alkione. As a reminder, this is a best of 7. Best of 7 constructed by best of 2s. Best of 2s between Nickrat and Lambo, alongside many other players. Again, we have our lineups already ready for us. Nickrat versus Lambo, we have Goblin Björn and Kelazur Scarlet. For now, we're jumping right on in. In the top right, we have Nickrat for Platinum R8. In the bottom left, we have Lambo for Shopify Rebellion. Let's go. Let us go. Nickrat is in a new room. I don't know if you noticed. There's a lot of pink going on right now. And it looks like we have a filter, maybe. I don't know. We do have a very different setup. Do appreciate it. Likewise, great to see Lambo once again. I think Lambo, especially after the wrap-up of the standings of EPT, did announce that he was going to take a bit of a step back and focus a lot on content creation and streaming, and we have been all enjoying that, I'm sure, but now it's great to see that once again, we've taken the role of the player, and Lambo is competing in WTL. As we've mentioned in the past, Shopify Rebellion, they do take WTL very seriously. Lambo has spoken out about how they do kind of prepare for their matches ahead of time quite well. That's one of the big things about WTL, is that you do have some days to prepare for your individual matches and prepare for your opponents, and I'm sure Shopify do take that take advantage of that as best as they can. As a result, they're doing well for themselves. Shopify, they are poised to make it into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Platinum R8, they're up against the wall. They're really fighting for a chance at the playoffs. They're still in the middle of the pack, and it is still up in the air whether they can make it into the top 8 or not. So every win does matter. Even a map score can make the difference here of making it in or being forced out of the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line. The pressure is on. For now, we're settling in. It is going to be a hatch gas full standard opener out of Lambo. Likewise, Nickrat going for a Rax expand as well. Nothing too crazy early on. We're loading into Alkione. The map is known for its more longer macro play, more standard map in the map pool. As the third base is more defendable, the fourth as well. Likewise, rush distance a little bit longer and not as small as, say, Post Youth or Ghost River. So we should be able to enjoy a bit of a more standard ZVT, at least initially. We can sink our teeth into a pattern. Sink our teeth in. But now we have our first Reaper moving out, poking in. Talking a little bit about our players, Nickrat has been improving quite a lot over the past 6 months. It's been very impressive to see his growth as a player. Nickrat, of course, being very active in the online tournament scene, and was, around the middle of the pack, especially amongst the European Terran players out there for a very long time. But it feels like over the past 6 months, specifically this year, as we don't quite get the tumor, but specifically this year, Nickrat has been leveling up and getting better and better results, more consistently able to face up against players like Cristiano, like Geralt, and even bring them down more often than otherwise. So it's great to have seen the growth of Nickrat, but now he's up against one of the best Zerg players in Europe. He has to turn it on here and now. Does have to turn it on. Behind this is going to be our 1-1-1 setup. I believe that is a starport before third CC, so a more aggressive opener here by Nickrat. You have my attention. Despite earlier talking about how we can maybe embrace a longer game, the openers were standard, but this follow-up less so. Aliens moving out across the map, starport about to finish up as well. This could be the beginnings of a Hellbat push, just bearing in mind there should be a CC by now, and it is not going to be Hellbats, it's instead going to be a Fusion Core. We're diving into BCs. Let's go. Regardless, it was going to be some kind of tech-heavy aggression here again. There's still no third command center for Nickrat, which is very unorthodox, and we see why. It is going to be for the Fusion Core. And we'll see if Lambo can get a read on what's going on. Overlord comes in for the scouts. The Marines in position. They're here to deny any kind of vision here in the main base. We go for the fake outs. We start up Cloak, and we do reveal the 1-1-1. Once the Overlord goes down, we should cancel. And And we should, there we go. There's a cancel on the Viking and on that add-on. Nickrack hiding his build and trying to fake out his opponent. Lambo should be getting ready for the eventual Banshee harass. Little does he know, it is battle cruisers. Oh boy. As we are threatening a dive, Queens so far keeping up with the Hellions. Now the goal here, ideally, is that the Hellions are able to keep the Queens distracted and the BC can dive into a mineral line, or vice versa. But now, no follow-up scouts, denying creep. Lambo, meanwhile, building up on 3 bases. Is droning and going for a take-off choice, going for a Banshee. Meanwhile, that's a second starport. Oh my god! 2-port BC? Papi's crazy. Gumiho, is that you? Nickrack, calm down, as we are setting up a second starport. That I was not quite expecting. This should be leading to mech as well. It should be 2-port BC into mech. And we'll see how Nickrack really pieces this all together and how Lambo does respond. So Lambo so far just going Ling Bane Queen. Getting his third base, droning up. Spores are on the way. Again, Spores should be getting in position for the Banshees. But we have an abundance of Hellions moving out. Here comes the first BC. And we're teleporting in! Yeah, we're going for the dive. We're going for the Queens. We do have a transfuse. We have the 1 transfuse, and we have barely a second. The Queens are now being targeted. Hellions are going for the mineral line. Where are the Lings? Not enough. But we have enough Queens to fend off those BCs. Hellions, they don't make their way in yet. They're trying to. And we split up the Hellions, head towards the mineral lines. Drones are exposed. Oh, but once again, Lambo, he does fend off the army. Keeps up with the rotations, forces back the Hellions, and Lambo defends. that was a very tense situation. Could have gone either way there, and Nickrack barely did not get to a mineral line. Lambo holds behind this. We have a Spire on the way, Roach Warren as well. Lambo now fully aware of what's going on. Getting ready for Roaches and Corruptors. I mean, I say fully aware. He's not fully aware of the second starport. That might catch him off guard, but is aware of the mech at least. As do have Yamato being researched, making 2 BCs at a time. Now, what's important here is that Nickrack, he may not have dealt much damage, but he also hasn't lost many Hellions. Like, the Hellion count is still looking strong, which means we can still threaten a dive. We can still threaten the mineral line. Hellions do come across the 4th. 4th under fire, we're forced to cancel. Not bad. We contain Lambo to 3 bases. Pushing in, and BCs, they go for another dive, but we have Bailings. The Bailings, they zone away those Hellions. Queens, they hold their own, but that's going to be 3 BCs. Oh my god, Queens are going down. And the rest of the army out of position. 4 Queens do fall. We do kite back. 1 Bailing does connect. But this is not a bad trade out of Nickrack. And once again, we dive on those Queens. We have a couple of transfuses left behind this. Bailings are waddling in. And Hellions, they do take some Bailings to the face. Ooh, half the Hellions go down. But what about the Queens? They've all fallen. Every single Queen has fallen, but that's 7 Corruptors in production. And Nickrack, he does not stick around. Doesn't stick around to figure out to find out what comes out of these eggs. Does pull away. But we're getting up to 4 BCs. 5 BCs even. That's a lot of BCs. Nickrack pulling away. Yamato just now finishing. We do get here just in time to repair. And because of the repairs going on, these Corruptors, can they break through? Looks like they can barely get 1 battle cruiser. 1 BC falls. Not a bad pickoff, bearing in mind that the power of these BCs is that they build up over time and they snowball out of control. But 1 of them has fallen. Down to 4. More Corruptors on the way. Now, even though Lambo did lose Queens, that's true, we lost a lot of Queens in that defense, but we did not lose Workers. That's what's important. The mineral line was kept safe and sound. We have the gold base on the way as well. The 4th was denied, but we make up for that with the gold. Nickrack looking to force another cancel. And it looks like he might be able to force his teleport away, and the base survives. Yeah, the 4th base does barely survive. Which means Lambo's economy is about to get out of hand, and Lambo should be the first to max out. Meanwhile, upon losing all those Hellions, Nickracht has lost a lot of map control. Has rebuilt a good amount of them, moving out once again. But this time Lambo has a much stronger Roach force. Can keep up. Speaking of, we're in position. Hellions are forced back, they trade against the Lings, but they cannot break through the Roaches. Lambo does defend. Behind this embracing more Roach heavy army, we have 1-1 upgrades on the way. 4th base getting fully saturated. Essentially on max saturation here. Not quite at 80 workers, but with the gold, that does make up for it. So the economy looking strong for Lambo, and he is about to max. At the same time, Nickracht sneaking up on that gold. Coming in from behind, Roaches this time are not in position. And we get into the mineral line, drones are getting roasted. Finally, some kind of economic damage. We get 10, we get 12. 12 drones going down. Not bad here by Nickracht, and he's not done. He's not done, he goes for the 3rd. We do catch up more workers, but it's going to be a one-way trip. 17 drones, we clean up all the Hellions. That is some good economic damage, but do we have enough to hold? That's the question. Because Lambo, he's had enough defending, he's moving out, getting ready for his counterattack. Banelings on the way, Ravagers as well. We might have too many Corruptors. That's something I'm a little bit concerned by. I mean, there are 4 BCs. But with only 4, as Nickracht is focusing on his ground army, focusing on those tanks. We're diving in. We get 1. 1 BC goes down. The Biles were trying to break through, trying to get on top of those tanks. And we barely are. And Lambo, he breaks through the defensive line, gets on top of the final tanks. 2 tanks left. Down to 1 at the natural. And this is a good enough trade. From here, Lambo can rebuild across the map. Sure, we might lose a hatchery, but that's going to cost us every single battle cruiser. Every single one. We still have a lot of Corruptors left over, and we could try to get into Hive Tech and morph them into Broodlords. Otherwise, we could still use them to harass and try to poke in at the main. Caustic spray down some buildings. As Nickracht is still trying to stabilize and secure himself on 3 bases. Yeah, Lambo going for the main. And we can even deny some of these upgrades. Gas guys are going down. Advanced servers, Android claws. Not bad. Didn't even force a cancel of drilling claws. Too bad here as Lambo does clean up, does defend. Doesn't lose any additional workers. After losing those 17 drones earlier, we have yet to rebuild them, so now we are redroning. Lambo's economy, not ideal, but he is maxed. Is maxed out nonetheless. With a lot more emphasis on Lingbane Roach Ravager. Without Vipers, it is going to be difficult to break these siege lines. It is going to be difficult, not impossible. Lambo diving in. Files will connect. First tank goes down. Nickracht trying to turtle on up. And we dive in nonetheless, going for the caustic spray, going for the planetary. And there's just not enough to break these tanks. The tanks are so exposed. They're going down one after the other. We have 3 cyclones to defend. That's all we have. And tanks on their own, they're so vulnerable. As Lambo, he breaks through the defensive line. GG gets called, and Lambo will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Lambo will take a lead here. But a shout out to Nickracht, because that was a wild build. to open up 2-port BC, his best Gumio impression. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Was very out of left field. And I feel like that's what you have to do here when you're up against a more favored player, right? Lambo is straight up one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe. And Nickracht is still an up-and-comer in the European region, still trying to make a name for himself, still in the shadow of players like Spirit and Hero Marine and Clem, of course. And that's kind of what you have to do. Something crazy, something wild. GG, well played. Lambo does take it. And the question becomes, Nickracht, what do you have in store for us here on Post-Youth? Now, we have seen a lot of Post-Youth here from Nickracht. We have seen quite a lot of this, of his TVZ, I should say. And specifically, we've seen a lot. Oh, there we have a cat. He let the cat in. Ah, beautiful. We've seen a lot of 2x Reaper. A lot of 2x Reaper is what I was getting at from Nickracked. Hopefully the cat doesn't Oh, wait, we're good. He's like, you know what? I would just play with an animal on my lap. Let's go. We have the cat buff. Really, little do you know that really it's the cat, the paws are out and the cat is playing instead. True. Hi. Yeah, the cat is in position. Ready to play Terran. Here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Nickracked for Platinum R8. And in the top right, we have Lambo for Shopify. Here we go. But I'm pretty sure Nickracked had it well within his rights to like ask for a pause and be like, excuse me, can I move the cat before I play? But no, not at all. He embraces it, papi. Let's go. Hopefully not causing too much of a distraction. Hopefully. As we are settling in. For now, going to be standard openers. Of course, we're loading into post-youth. It is a quite unique map here with our in-base hybrid base. Does allow for more greedy play. Is going to be hatch gas pulled by Lambo, and Nickracked is not going CC first. Clearly looking for attention, it is. The cat is clearly looking for attention. Like, hurry up and 2x this guy. Oh my god. Okay. The cat has lost interest. Okay, we're good. And we spoke earlier about 2x Reaper, as the cat was being introduced, and there it is. We have the second Reaper, sorry, the second Rax on the way. It is in fact going to be 2x Reaper from Nickracked. He's very fond of this opener, specifically on post-youth. We've seen it plenty of times in online tournaments, and has caught many a Zerg player off guard with this as well. Bearing in mind that post-youth has the shortest rush distance by ground map in the map pool, very short rush distance, does allow you to be that much more aggressive, that much more assertive. And the goal here is to deny the third and maybe even get some economic damage done and pick off some workers, as Reapers are on the way. Now, this is not an all-in. It's a way to get a lead early on to get map control, and of course, to follow it up with an expansion, to follow it up with a 2-1-1, or a 2-1-1 variation, as Reapers are on the way. Strategic meeting is happening right now. Hi. As Reaper does dip in, dancing with the Lings. We do have additional Reapers moving in behind this. And we do invest, I believe, into a fourth Reaper as well. So far, so good. Lambo's stuck on 2 bases. Oh! Does almost overextend. He has to be very careful here about pushing up these ramps. Does pull away. And again, all he has to do is confirm that there is no third hatchery. And from here, we're following it up, not with a 2-1-1. If you look at the production tab, that is a third and fourth Rax on the way. It's going to be a 4-Rax. Oh my god. Very aggressive. Very committed. Do you have additional Raxes? Basically, what's coming on the horizon here is a stim timing. A very strong, very potent stim timing from Nickracked. And if Lambo is too greedy in the aftermath, if he's a little bit too greedy when it comes to recovering and taking a third, maybe taking a fast fourth base, then Lambo can be caught off guard. So we're going for the queens. Link Speed does kick in, and Nickracked has to get the hell out of here. Cannot afford to get caught out. And it looks like we may have overstayed our welcome. Lings, they come in for the dive. They come in for the surround. And it looks like they will catch one. They will catch 2 Reapers. 2 Reapers do fall. 3 Reapers even. 1 will escape, will survive. Regardless, we have a full wall off, and we are working towards stim. Now, when it comes to this 4x timing, there's no Medivacs. There's no support. It's really just pure bio. This does mean that every stim does count. It means that you have to be very careful with how and when you choose to make use of your stim. So a very delicate follow-up here from Nickracked, as the observer is pointing it out. Now, this can lead into a third CC, but we haven't yet to see a third CC from Nickracked. Just massing up more Marines, and he has, so far, done well hiding them. He has successfully hid all these Marines, looking for the Overlord. Alas, won't find it. The Overlord is in the dead space. Lambo double expanding, droning up, working towards 1-1. No Bailey Nest yet, but there we go. Bailey Nest now in production. And here comes that bio move out, and so far, Lambo has not seen this coming. Oh, he's droning. Is droning up. The Ling will barely catch wind of this. Nice scout there to Lambo. He knows the Queens are coming forward. Lings are amassing as well. Lambo is preparing. And Nickrat, he dives in. Goes for the dive, yet to stim. And there we go. Goes for the stim. Goes for the Queens. So far, good positioning. Going for the mineral line. Catching a handful of workers. 2 Queens go down. But we're running out of steam. Yeah, we're running out of Marines. It looks like Lambo, he will shut this down. Yeah, there is no escape. The Marines, they all fall. Nickrat not looking comfortable there on cams. Not happy about that outcome. What did he really get? He got 2 Queens and 2 drones and traded with Lings. That was not a good trade for Nickrat. And now he's forced back. He's forced back home. Lambo defends. From here, Lambo, he's taking the gold base as well. Doesn't need to, but may as well. Takes the gold, droning up. Embracing 1-1. Lair is on the way. And from here, Lambo, he has a lead. He has the lead. He has control of the game. It's on Nickrat to bounce back. And we can, of course. We can bounce back with drop play especially. There's a lot of micro potential for Nickrat. With Sim Marines, with Medivacs, you have a lot of potential here to outposition your opponent, to pull them apart, to get into mineral lines, outcontrol the Zerg. But that's going to be a necessity here for Nickrat, as he does need to be active. He's moving out towards the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Lambo, he drones up to 3 base saturation, focusing on Ling Bane. Lambo playing very carefully, does not over-drone. Lambo is not too greedy. You could argue that Lambo maybe could have droned up a little bit more. I would stand by that, but again, Lambo just playing very safe. Doesn't want to get caught by Norlin. And speaking of, Nickrat has yet to expand. So it's a good call here for Lambo to not drone up too much. Just focus on pure Ling Bane. Baneling speed is on the way, 2-2 is on the way, and yeah, speaking of, it's just a straight up 2-base all in. it's all or nothing here for Nickrat. One way or another, the game is about to end. Either Nickrat kills Lambo or he dies trying. Is pushing forward. Meanwhile, Lambo is setting up a surround. No. Is setting up, catching reinforcements. The army is spotted. We do bait out of stim. Nickrat racing back, chasing down these Banelings. Baneling speed finishing up in a second. And these tanks on the front lines are so exposed, and we're diving in. And Lambo ready to collapse on this army. And there's barely anything to protect these tanks. The tank is going to go down. The tank falls, only pure Marine remaining. Forcing another stim. And this is looking bleak for the Terran player. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Lambo. Liberators are sieging up. More Liberators on the way. The army very battered and bruised purely from stimming. And Lambo, he just ignores it. He just goes for a big counterattack as well. The wall's on a wall! The wall is wide open. GG gets caught, and Lambo will take the 2-0 lead. GG. GG, well played. Lambo able to survive the aggression here of Nickrat. Game 1, we had a wild back and forth with a 2-port BC opener. It was crazy. It's crazy. Here in Game 2 was 2-axe Reaper into 4-axe, and again, Lambo, he wasn't too greedy. He played it out very safely. He did confirm the first move out. He was able to react in time, able to defend. And from there, Lambo was in the driver's seat with that GG. GG, well played. Shopify, they start off with a 2-0 lead. And now we're getting ready for our next matchup for Goblin versus Beyond. And Goblin has been popping off. If you were here last night, you would have been privy to Kung Fu Cup. We did cover Kung Fu Cup, the WTL edition, last night here, 24 hours ago. And Goblin was popping off. in the world. This is not going to be an easy one for Goblin. Walkover, hopefully there's no forfeits. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Thankfully, we have our players. I was a little bit concerned considering that apparently there's another event going on, but we have both Goblin and Bjorn. We have them ready for their WTL match. Whew. Let's go. Shout out to Papa Panda in the chat as well. I believe Papa Panda is either the team captain or at least a big part of Platinum Heroes, and is a little bit more privy to some information, letting us know that the matches will not be played via replays. They will be played live. So do appreciate it. Thank you for that, Papa Panda. Gracias, gracias. Do appreciate it. As we're getting ready for Game 1, getting ready for Ghost River. Here we go. Again, Goblin has been on fire as of late. I mentioned earlier how he brought down some big Koreans yesterday. We're jumping into our series, and in the top right-hand corner, we have Goblin for Platinum R8. And in the top left, we have Bjorn for Shopify. Cool. Again, Goblin, he brought down Solar, he brought down Trap, he brought Classic to an ace match. But those were all Zergs and Protoss players. What about his PVT? That is the big question. Likewise, Bjorn, I'm sure, in form as well, playing in multiple events at once. Let's go. Very busy, very busy. And of course, is, I'm sure, preparing in the lead up to EWC as well. Looking to be very in form. And looking to lead his team to victory here as well, as he is, I would say, Shopify's ace player. Likewise, so is Goblin. I think for a long time I would have said that Kelazar Diego was the ace player Platinum R8, but especially with the most recent performances of Goblin, I think I would say that he is the current strongest player on the team. Maybe comparable to Kelazar, but again, he's just had some insane results as of late. Goblin really impressing us recently. And we'll see if he can impress us again. For now, just scouting the third base location, making sure there is no crazy proxy, moving out towards the natural. Just going for a scout and settling in. As we do try to delay the expansion, Bjorn did go for a Rax Expand. Economic opener here by Bjorn. Is going for a very economic opener, which is a little bit surprising on a map as small as Ghost River. We typically expect to be seeing some more aggressive starts, but not this time, not from Bjorn. Setting up more economically. Goblin, he does barely hug the wall. He avoids the initial Reaper, goes back in, going for a delay on the CC. Yeah, second SV has to come down, and we will delay for a second or two. We do successfully delay. Reaper forced to come back home. We'll clean up the probe, and we do get eyes on the follow-up Tech Lab on that Rax. Marauder on the way. Interesting. No add-on swap, and that was spotted by Goblin. And speaking of taking risks, speaking of taking chances, we are going to be embracing a Stargate opener out of Goblin. Oh my god. Okay. It's going to be a Stargate opener. Working towards Phoenixes or Oracles. I mentioned before this is a little bit risky in this matchup on this map, but Goblin throws caution to the wind. I mean, he is a Phoenix boy. He is Rotterdam's firstborn. True. Goblin does like to embrace the Phoenixes whenever he can. As the initial Marauders have arrived, going for the add-on swap. Rax is on the way. Reaper Scout does confirm the Stargate, and I got ahead of myself. It is not going to be Phoenixes, it's going to be an Oracle opener out of Goblin. For the time being. It is Oracle first, and Bjorn does confirm. Oh! Reaper gets shut down, but we got the scouting information we wanted. We did confirm the Stargate, we confirmed the first unit. We are aware, and Bjorn is getting ready. As Marines and Cyclones are going to be on the horizon here for our Korean Terran. As we can see, it's going to be Oracle into Phoenix. We got there eventually. Phoenixes are on the way. Oracle moves out towards the natural. And the Cyclone's going to be in position, as I believe we have a handful to work with. Yeah, we are ready at the natural. Oracle goes in, gets one SCV, but it's going to be zoned away. Bjorn does, oh my god, does deflect the Oracle, almost brings it down. A lot of hull damage dealt. Goblin does have to back off. And in the follow-up here, Bjorn is going to be embracing a very bio-heavy composition. Of course, no tanks, no need. Against something more aggressive like Blink Stalkers, then tanks are required, but against Stargate play, we can skip them, go straight into Marines, Marauders, and Stim. Bjorn can embrace what he's best at. That is bio play. Meanwhile, Goblin throwing down the Robo, going for a safety Immortal. This looks like the beginning of Phoenix Colossus. Speaking of, the Bay is on the way. We're getting into Colossus production. Oh boy. The tried and true Phoenix Colossus here in PvT. I mean, it's sold for a reason, and Goblin is looking to get away with it. We'll see if he can. See if we can. As we do see Bjorn being active, trying to hunt down that Oracle. Will not find it. Not yet. Still on the hunt. Now, bearing in mind as well that Goblin's playing very safe. He's going for the Bay and the Colossus before the third Nexus, as we have yet to expand. Even going for the Forge as well. Just being as safe as possible. Not really being too greedy, not really cutting too many corners. Phoenix is being active. And we've yet to really deal too much economic damage. The Oracle got 1 SCV earlier, and now we catch 2. Not bad. 3 SCVs even. 3 SCVs go down. Goblin still being active. Observer does get eyes on the move out. And Bjorn does go for a push. Goblin is fully aware. That's a lot of Marauders. As the army moves out, Goblin moves in. Maybe 2 more SCVs, 5 in total. Meanwhile, back at home, this move out is designed to deny the third, but there is no third to speak of. Goblin is still on 2 bases. And we can actually push in towards that pylon. But now threatening the natural, rotating over. Avoiding the stasis for the time being. And just containing Goblin, posturing. Scanner does reveal the stasis. And can Goblin punish this? Gets a Cyclone, gets a stray Marauder as well. That's okay. Picks up a handful of units, and now Goblin can expand. Whew. Yeah, Probe is on the way. Meanwhile, the Phoenix's Colossus are amassing. And we could end up in a bit of a longer game. I know earlier I spoke about the aggressive nature of this map and how the short rush distance and how congested the map is can lead to some earlier games. But if both players play macro, we can cut the map in half. Again, specifically, there are just so many choke points here on Ghost River. Taking the third, the fourth, you can be quite secure in doing so. As long as you have map control, we can embrace a much, much longer game. Oh boy. As Bjorn is taking a third CC, likewise Goblin expanding as well. You could argue that Goblin's third base is late, I would agree, but again, we're just playing very safe. I don't blame him, especially against Bjorn. This Goblin does maneuver out. Ready the natural, but we have our Vikings in position. We'll defend. And really it's just Goblin just making sure that there's no drop play, there's no move outs, and that we can successfully get into 3 bases and then take a 4th and then just keep on going from there. Likewise, a Goblin going to be transitioning and going to be working towards charge lots, supporting his main army. Phoenix Colossus into charge. A couple of Immortals going to be sprinkled in as well. You have one of 2 ways to approach this. There are some players that like to go into Disruptors after the initial Colossus. There are others that like to embrace Immortals, especially with the latest patch, with the change to the Disruptor where it takes up more supply. Some players have been embracing a more Immortal-heavy composition instead of Disruptors as the answer to Marauders. But now it looks like Immortals are the answer for Goblin. For now. I know, especially early on in the patch, MaxPax was very vocal about... Oh, as we catch a Phoenix. MaxPax was very vocal about just avoiding Disruptors and embracing Mass Immortal instead. But that was more in the early days of the patch. A couple of months ago at this point. This Goblin is taking a 4th. And again, we're just working towards a longer game. We shouldn't really be, or at least Goblin shouldn't really be pushing anytime soon. There we go. Second Robos on the way for double Immortal production. Oh, Disruptor production has begun, though. Let's go. Disruptors are on the way. Do love to see it. Vikings zoning the Phoenixes back. And we're in for a more passive mid-game here. We've had a bit of poking and prodding here and there, but nothing too major. We're just building up. And as Goblin is embracing Disruptors, we have Beyond embracing Ghosts. Ghosts are on the way. Vikings, of course, help deal with the Skytoss and the Colossus as well. We haven't been able to really embrace Liberators yet. We're still a ways away from that. Once we get a fourth base, then we can start throwing down like a fusion core and a second starport. So we are setting up. Goblin knocking down the rooks. Beyond throwing down sensor towers. Both players securing themselves, securing their halves of the map. Goblin very quick to expand at the center location. Taking the fifth. I do like this. I do think the faster you take it, the more secure it's going to be. You can throw down cannons, shield batteries, you can just fully wall up. As Beyond is taking his fourth. And you can see here as he takes the fourth base, now we get to the second starport. We'll keep an eye out for the fusion core. We'll keep an eye out. Likewise, if the game goes on longer, we should be seeing a fleet beacon and a Stargate. I mean, we already have a Stargate, but start working towards Skytoss. Towards that late game composition. As the map is cut in half for the most part. Goblin being active. Both players are maxing out. Players are maxing. Again, it's going to be difficult to really catch Beyond off guard with all these sensor towers. Likewise, it doesn't take long at all to rotate between bases. But we're going to try. As Goblin does want to trade. Rotating over, heading towards the fourth base. Right now, he's out of vision of the sensor towers. He's not spotted. Beyond somewhat in position, but does pull away. And now we're going for the planetary. Goblin going for the dive. Going for the fourth base. Nova's going to be going off. SV's going to be going down at the same time. Beyond coming in for the surround. Nova goes off. Nova connection, not yet. Nice CMP here onto those Phoenixes. The splits are looking good. And no big connections from these Novas. The army does step forward. Colossus are going down. Oh, and Goblin is going to bleed out a lot here in the retreat. Yeah, this was not the fight. Oh, the Nova does overshoot. Yeah, we're breaking through. One Nova finally does connect. We're going to lose every single Disruptor. And nice control there by Beyond. Does focus on the Disruptors. One of them does survive. But just the one. Oh my god. Not bad. We end up trading, but alas. Goblin, his robo count gets reset. No more Colossus, just one Disruptor. Beyond did lose his planetary, but there was a backup CC that's just now finishing up just in time to retake the fourth. As the dust does settle, it was a pretty brutal trade. Beyond, he lost all of his ghosts, all the Marauders. Did retain the Vikings, is what I will say, but there's not really much for the Vikings to do. The Phoenixes are dead, Colossus as well. So we will eventually want to trade out these Vikings, eventually. And work towards Libs. Until then, Goblin remaxing on almost purely Zealot. That's a lot of Zealots. Zealot Disruptor with a handful of Stalkers as well. Stage Trap does go up. We get the Stasis, pushing forward. Reminder, a lot of supply for Beyond is in Vikings. I do favor Goblin here in a head-to-head fight. He's going to rotate around, warping in 11 Zealots at a time. Let's go. Catching out these Marauders. Let's catch out the Marauders, both armies maxing out. Goblin rotating once again towards the fourth. Beyond does spot the rotation. Is keeping up this Lib range on the way. We have the Fusion Core. The Libs are in production, but we don't have them yet. Okay, they're not ready. Nice EMP. As the Novas, they graze at the Marauders. EMP did connect, but we have 3 more Novas behind this. 5 in total. But the freedom is here. Liberation has arrived just in time. Yeah, they do siege up. And Goblin has to back off. Again, Liberators typically do force the transition to Sky Toss. We're not quite there yet. I don't think I saw a Fleet Beacon from the Protoss player, from Goblin. Novus going off, more libs in production. 3-3 on the way for Bjorn. And Goblin, he still wants that 4th. Liberators did on siege. We're going for the Novas. Oh! Not quite connecting. Nice control out of Goblin. He does snipe one of those libs. Once again, rotating around. Will deny one of the CCs. That's a kill, not a cancel. But Bjorn, he wants to go for the dive. He's going to be zoned away. A risky move here by Bjorn. Does snipe one disruptor. Not a bad pickup. Still making more Liberators. I am still concerned by the lack of Fleet Beacon here from Goblin. I do feel like his army is being outscaled as time goes on. Again, you can see here the power of these Liberation zones is that Goblin just can't really engage. And we're just making more. Still making 4 libs at a time. Goblin's not really gaining any ground here. Not anymore. And 5th base on the way. Goblin setting up a massive wall of shield batteries, of cannons. Bjorn setting up a flank. And he collapses in from both angles. Snipes one of the disruptors. Good pick off, but the charge, I'll say, punish the bio. Bit of a back and forth trade. Got 1 disruptor, bled out to a lot of Marauders. Bjorn is slowly gaining ground, pushing forward. There it is. Now we have +1. Now the Fleet Beacon's on the way, but is this too late? So we are pushing forward. Vikings, they can't really add much. That charge us breaking through. Vikings going to be landing. 2 Liberators already went down. The Nova connects. But we focus on every single disruptor. The Stalkers as well. Bjorn takes the fight. And again, we're just not ready for this. The Fleet Beacon is halfway done. We have Stargates on the way, but the Sky Toss is just such a late transition here for Goblin. We're stuck with a ground army. And can we buy time? Goblin did take one of Bjorn's bases, true. So it's going to be a while before Bjorn can really move out across the map. More disruptors on the way. Bjorn slowly pushing forward. And these cannons doing well for themselves. They're not killing anything, but they're again, buying time. To our position, Bjorn sniping 2 of these libs. Nicely done. 2 Liberators go down. Massive EMPs connect. Bjorn is being forced back. We reset the Liberator counts. Get a very nice angle here from Goblin. Collapses on the Ghosts. Ghosts are going down as well. Honestly, really good trades. Solid trades here from Goblin. Catching out the Bio Army. Nova's going off, and Bjorn just can't engage. Not with this. Not anymore, so we have another massive wave of Zealots on the way. 11 Zealots at a time. We deny the 5th. We deny the 5th base. Bjorn plummets in supply. That was 21 SCVs going down, and he's being contained. He just can't expand. Remember, Goblin, he's on how many bases? He's on 7 bases. Compared to the 4 of Bjorn. So Goblin, despite being stuck with the Gateway Army, he can trade. He can trade for days. Trade for days, and Bjorn can't. Ooh, we do catch disruptors. 2 disruptors go down. But overall, Goblin taking an 8th Nexus. Just mass expanding. And again, so important that he was able to establish this 7th base. And set up all those cannons. Diving on the tanks, and Bjorn, he's in a lot of trouble. Nova's going off, nice splits. But Goblin, he's still just out trading. He's still breaking through. And we were praising Goblin earlier. He was able to bring down Trap. He brought down Solar. And now Bjorn as well? Almost. He's so close to doing so. Another wave of Warpins. Who needs the Sky Toss, Pappy? We have the Fleet Beacon. We don't even need it. Nah, not. I mean, we have a Tempest. Honorary Tempest coming in. We don't need it. It's fine. Goblin out-trading Beyond nonetheless. Yeah, we're collapsing on the final army here. There's no way out of this. We can focus on the Metamax. Shut down the CCs. Reinforcements are on the way. But the Zealots, they come in as well. Who surrounds who? GG gets called, and Goblin will take game number 1. GG. Papi. GG, well played. Goblin taking full advantage of the map, of course, of Ghost River, just cutting the map in half, making sure that we can just strip away some of the things that Beyond is known for. What I'm referring to is multi-pronged harassment, right? Drop play, harassment, multi-pronged aggression. Make sure. So here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Crimson Court. We have Goblin for Platinum R8. In the bottom left, we have Beyond for Shopify. Let's go. Is this live? Yes. Is live. There's no delay. There's no delay on the stream for WTL. Just as a heads up. No delay, pal. Stream Ellis can answer questions. Yes, we do have a trigger for our bot in the chats. Because very often someone is like, "Yo, live?" ? So if anyone ever says the word like live, and I think with a question mark at the end, the bot steps in. Send it, Stream Element. Send it. Let him know. So that is automated. Are you alive? No, no. I'm dead inside, Papi. Ah, the ladder killed me. It's actually specifically, is this live for Tree? There you go. There you go. As we are getting into game 2. As a reminder, this is Beyond's map of choice. I'm sure Beyond has something in store for us here on a Crimson Court, and I'm sure most likely looking to go for a more aggressive mid-game. Again, Beyond was just unable to really flex what he's known for in that previous game either. He was stuck at home, he was contained, forced to slow the game down and play out a Goblin's game instead. But here, Beyond can spread his wings. As one of the big features of Crimson Court is the map layout. There's a lot of bases here that are cut off with mineral patches, with wall-offs as well, with rocks. Can be quite difficult to really gain access to those locations, and as a result, drop play can be harder to shut down as well. We'll see if Goblin once again does open up Stargate. For now, Gate Expand. Gate Cyber Expand out of Goblin. Likewise, we do have Beyond going for a double gas opener. Interesting. Okay, double gas out of Beyond, going for a faster factory, went for a delayed CC. So Beyond is going for a more tech-heavy style. This can lead into a mine drop, can lead into a cyclone drop, can lead into banshees, for example. There's a lot available here for Beyond. Let's see what we embrace. Across the map, Goblin once again, Stargate. Stargate opener here out of Goblin. Looking to go into Phoenixes once again, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Beyond getting into his 1-1-1. First Cyclone about to arrive. I'm curious if we go for a Widowmine behind this. As Reapers, they do get a Scout. They slip behind the middle line into the main base. They confirm the Stargate and even pick off 3 probes. Oh my god. Can we get a 4th? Barely we can. 4 probe kills. Very nice trade out of Beyond. He fully scouts. Gets economic damage done. Second Cyclone is indeed on the way. So he's getting ready for those Phoenixes. Beyond has to be careful not to overextend. So calm down. Trying to avoid those Adepts. Goblin will get extra shots in. Cyclone getting low. We do have reinforcements, and Beyond should be able to hold on. And takes out an Adept. Phoenix coming in for the lift, though. Trading 2 Adepts for 1 Cyclone. That's an okay trade here for Goblin. As long as they don't lose much else. Back at home, Beyond embracing further Cyclones. Vikings on the way as well. Just purely anti-air. Even trying to sneak out a drop towards the main. Cyclone and 4 Marines. Not the most amount of DPS available here, but the goal is economic damage. As we can pop off in the mineral line. And Goblin barely does miss this. We are going to be slipping in. Going for the probes. Quick reaction out of Goblin. Losing 2 probes so far. Not much more. We can chase this back. Goblin has to be careful. Yeah, he's going to be fended back. He's going to be forced back. Tries to punish that Cyclone, but takes some hull damage. Thankfully, no Phoenixes go down. And Bjorn does get away. Once again, we have a Robo follow-up, so it looks like Goblin should be embracing Phoenix Colossus for a second time. I mean, it's a pretty robust army composition. Does give you map control, does shut down bio pushes. It's meta for a reason. And Goblin should be heading in that direction. Ooh, as we do get caught out. Bleeding out of Phoenix. Goblin has to be careful. The Phoenixes, they're the only thing really keeping Bjorn at bay. And without them, Bjorn can move out. A brutal push here from Bjorn. Goblin is making a safety immortal. Shield batteries on the way. We will have an overcharge and force fields. You can see Goblin once again throwing down the Bay and the Forge on 2 bases. He delays his 3rd. Bjorn does confirm, pushing into the natural. We do pop the overcharge. The Cyclones are lifted. And Bjorn, he can't quite break this. Yeah, cannot break it. Does overextend. Loses the Cyclones, some of the Vikings. And he's going to be chased down. Yeah, brutal push here by Bjorn. Does trade against the Phoenixes, but he's going to lose everything. Yeah, there's no turning back from this. We try to pick up another Stalker. Alas, we do pull away in time. Goblin, the kiting. He preserves the Stalkers and shuts down every single Marine. Ay, ay, ay. That was a big loss for Bjorn. Not looking too happy there on cams. Goblin taking a 3rd base. Bjorn already has his own 3rd. Soon to be up and running. And now Goblin has map control. It's not like Goblin can push out and kill Bjorn, not by any means, but now Bjorn is stuck at home, and Goblin can sail into his 3rd base, take up, macro up, work towards a 4th, and slow the game down. And slow the game down. Phoenix just came into production. Getting guys on the setup. And even here, not really getting any major damage, but being a nuisance. Containing Bjorn. Keeping him busy. As Colossus are amassing back at home. Catching an SCV. Base getting low. Stalkers have arrived as well. The base is actually under threat. It shouldn't go down, but it's getting quite low. Catching more Marines. No economic damage, but 4 Marines go down. Goblin doing very well here with these Phoenixes. And there's that 4th base on the way, the center 4th as well. Of course, has the high yield Rich Gas Geyser. Can take advantage of it. Phoenix is still being active. Getting an SCV. Ooh. Phoenixes are getting low. We have to be careful. Trying to maintain map control. And you see Goblin still just working on his production. We have a 6 gateway explosion. Temple Archives that should be for charge. Goblin's not quite there yet. Interesting. This time going for a Temple Archives. If you remember, that's something that we avoided in Game 1. We didn't have Archons. We didn't have High Templar or Storm. But Goblin, he definitely has that on the mind. Getting another 2 SCVs. Risen moving after some harass. We spoke earlier about how it can be a little bit more effective to go for drops on a map like Crimson Courts, just because you're a little bit safer. There's nothing out on the map that can really threaten that War Prism. And the Goblin does have map control with his Phoenixes, so beyond he's pinned back. He's going to be pinned back here. Forcing out a stim. Charge is finishing. Temple Archives is done. I'm curious if we embrace Storm, if we go into Disruptors. I believe we're still on 1 Robo. So it could be Storm on the way for Goblin. So now we have Archons. Archons are being incorporated. Goblin maneuvering around. Not quite committing yet. I'm not too sure if we really want to push into the tank line, but we can't deny the 4th. And even catch out these Marines. Goblin sneaking up on Bjorn. At the same time, we have that War Prism still poised to go into the main. Not going in yet. War Prism speed just finished. Do have our second starport. Getting ready for mass Viking production. It looks like Goblin is just relying on a mass Swarm Toss composition. Sure, he's got some Colossus, but not too many. Just the 2. Getting within range, denying the 4th. At the same time, War Prism does hit the 4th. The 3rd even. Does hit the 3rd base. A handful of Zealots, not getting much done. Bjorn is in position. Does respond. And from here we can just expand. And Goblin's doing well, denying the base. Denying the 4th for as long as we can. Even catching a medevac. The tank is a bit greedy. Calm down. Tank is a bit greedy here. Colossus are repositioning. Ooh, nice EMP here on the Phoenixes. Sensor tower goes down. And the Goblin getting caught out a little bit here. Massive EMP. And we pick up an Archon at the same time. They'll say hit the mineral line. SCVs are going down this time. Bjorn not quite in position. And we can go straight into the main. We go for the dive. The turret barely does get the Prism. Prism goes down, but we get the CC. The 4th base goes down. And Goblin, he got what he wanted. He got the 4th base. Bjorn getting pulled apart. Ay, ay, ay. 4th base goes down. Goblin remaxing. Bjorn going for a Desperation Doom Drop across the map. And I believe Goblin did miss it. Oh, never mind, it's coming back. So far, unscattered. Moving out towards the main. And Goblin is maxed out. Won't have any reinforcements back at home. But he's just going for the kill, going for the 4th. Once again, forces a cancel. And do we force a recall? That is the question. Goblin leaving his army idle. Losing a Colossus. Colossus goes down. We do have a Warping of Zealots. Despite that, the positioning working against Goblin, the SimCity. Yeah, the choke point is brutal. Zealots are going down. Bjorn trading well. We do force the recall. Army's recalled back home, and Bjorn finally gets breathing room. And even almost catching a Colossus. Yeah, it looks like he does. Colossus does go down the center of the map, and Goblin, he's now being pulled apart. He lost both Colossus. Struggling to trade here in the main. Bjorn pushing towards the center base, towards the 4th. Good EMPs. EMPs are solid. Goblin struggling here. Everything very quickly going south. It was a bold move to go for the Doom Drop, but it has paid off. Just pulling Goblin's attention apart. Now the downside here is that Goblin still has 6 bases. We're on a 6-base setup. Goblin can still rebuild, and Bjorn has yet to expand. Fourth still on the way. But it looks like Goblin can't really contest the 4th base. Not anymore. And Bjorn has momentum. Bjorn is going to be pushing in. And once again, solid EMPs. Archons, they crumble. And we can just kite well against these Zealots. And there's no backbone here to the army. There barely is. And likewise, no buffer either. No Zealots remaining. We're getting on top of the Archons one after the other. And Bjorn, he's breaking through. Taking down every single Archon. The Archon Cannon is reset. Taking down the Gas Geyser. More Ghosts all the way, more Vikings. Goblin's still trying to stabilize. Still struggling. Still has the base advantage, but Bjorny double expands. That's what's terrifying here. Bjorny takes the 4th and the 5th base. And suddenly Bjorn, he recovers. He's keeping up. As I say that, bleeds out some SCVs, but only a handful. 4 SCVs go down. Goblin gets eyes on the 5th, is rotating over, knocking down those rocks. The game is about to be chaotic here. As Goblin pushes out towards the left, we see Bjorn going for a double drop on the right. Oh boy. Do collapse on the Planetary. Planetary is going to be going down. The Immortals, they put in a lot of work. Bjorn going to be chasing him back. At the same time, he does drop and does find the base. And on top of that, we have the Immortals. The Immortals are exposed. No more Zealots. No more Stalkers. Immortals are going down. Expensive losses here for Goblin. Even the Colossus does not escape. And recall too little too late. And Bjorny's going to keep on pushing. And that was the Robot Army reset. The Immortals and the Colossus. We have one left. And you can see here the momentum swing heavily in favor of Bjorn once he breaks out, once he got his 4th base up and running with that Doom drop. All it takes is one drop, one moment at times. Disruptor goes down, doesn't connect. Another Disruptor rolling in and does get a decent connection, but one is just not enough. Not anymore. Vikings, they snipe the Colossus. Bjorn being forced back by the Zealots, but we're running out of Zealots nonetheless. And the Vikings land, and Bjorn, he knows he has broken the center base and broken the back of Goblin. It was an impressive game and an impressive series. Went all the way to a tied up score here. But Goblin cannot hold on. Not again. Not this time against Bjorn. Not anymore. Not a bad Nova. Good connection here on the Marauders. Does connect. Bjorn taking down a base. Nexus is going to fall. We get the Mineral Line as well. And Novas are good, but are they good enough to come back from this, from a 60, almost 70 supply deficit here in favor of Bjorn? And Nova's going off. They won't connect. And GG gets called. Bjorn ties it up 1-1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. It was a very tense best of 2 though. Goblin, he really did set the pace here for the series, both in game 1 and yeah, our TVC. We often do avoid this matchup on this map on Amphion. It's a map that's often vetoed, but again, the map is predetermined, it's set up ahead of time, so we're going to be able to embrace and have a more rare ZVT on Amphion, thanks to WTL. Do appreciate it. Scarlet going for what looks to be a 15-15. Safe opener. Very safe opener here from Scarlet. The purpose of this is to get a faster queen, is to get faster lings or access to lings. More importantly, the queens, though, to be able to defend against 2-Rax Reaper and get into in a way, a bit of a greedier start. I say greedier just because you're skipping your gases. Your gas is going to be much more delayed with this opener. So later ling speed and potential roach play instead, depending on when we do decide to embrace and take that gas. This is that spawning pool on the way. Meanwhile, Kelliser opening up, not 2-Rax Reaper, just a single Rax into expansion, standard opener out of Kelliser, safe opener out of Scarlet. We go. As he is moving out for that scout. Meanwhile, Scarlet already mining through those mineral patches, looking to take the 3rd base. Looking to expand and take the triangular 3rd. Interesting. That's another big feature here of Amphion, is on the left-hand side. These bases are a lot more secure. You have to knock down rocks. You have to mine through minerals to actually gain access to these bases. Because that can be quite awkward to push into them. As Scarlet is making a wave of 6 lings. Okay. A very aggressive response here with the 15-15. Going for 6 Lings. Ideally, we want to avoid this Reaper and get across the map. The Reaper has arrived and will threaten that natural base. But Kelzer, he does spot the Lings. It does spot them just barely. We'll trade. We'll take down one. Almost another. Back at home. Gonna have to try to defend without his initial Reaper. As his CC is vulnerable. Taking down another Ling. Well, Scarlet has arrived. The CC is going to be delayed. Not bad. Boy's being pulled, but the SCV does go down. Nice pickoff. We get a worker. We delay the expansion. Getting another SCV potentially. Oh, almost. Barely not. And we even force a massive reaction here, forcing the boys off the mineral line. And so much lost mine time here for Kelazur as he can go back to mining, back to the natural. And we are following this up with a 1-1-1. Okay, we saw this earlier from Nicaract. Did lead into 2-port BC, which was wild. We'll see what Kelzer has in store for us. This could be for committed Banshee play. This could be for the beginnings of a Hellbat push. We'll see what the setup is looking like here in the main. And there's the add-on swap. No third base from Kelzer. So very committed on 2 bases here. Very aggressive start from the Terran. Starport is done. Viking first. Are we going for the BCs? As there is no add-on swap, so this could be the setup for a fusion core. Reaper is going to be shut down. The Viking will zone away the Medivacs. Sorry, I say Medivacs. Will zone away the Overlords. There are TCs thrown down, but Kelzer, you do have my attention. Okay, it looks like it's just going to be Viking into Liberator. Okay. Aliens are moving out. Meanwhile, we spoke earlier about the delayed gases and how often Zerg players will go Roaches instead of Ling, and there it is, Roach Horns on the way. With this opener I do refer to. Meanwhile, drones are lined up. Oh no! The drones are lined up! 11 workers go down, and we're not done. 14 drones, 15! Oh my god! Unfortunately, no Lings to defend. Unfortunately, Scarlet was a little bit greedy here, and alas, we eviscerate the entire mineral line. Oh my god. To bring it back a little bit, the reason for this, because of the opener, there was no Ling speed. No Ling speed, no Lings whatsoever. We were working towards Roach production. We only had Queens. And as a result, the Hellions, they did pop off. And just like that, Kelzer does take an economic lead. Moving out once again with more Hellions. Meanwhile, Scarlet going for double Evo chambers, going for the lair. Still no Lings, still no Roaches either. Scarlet has been heavily droning. Hellions are going for another dive! Oh my god, we wall off. No! No! We get in! The wall is not a wall. More drones going to be going down again. There is nothing to defend, only Queens. And drones are getting roasted. One after the other. 10 more workers going down. I mean, this was a greedy follow-up here by Scarlet, and she did not get away with it. Did not get away with that greed. Behind this, Kelzer following up with, of course, Biotank with the 3-1-1. And Kelzer is looking comfortable. Quite comfortable here. And 1-1 upgrade, Stim as well. Tank production underway. And I'm waiting to see the basically 7-minute push here. I'm waiting to see the Stim timing for Kelzer. He's already crippled the economy, and he set himself up here for his push. And the pressure is now on Scarlet to recover. Joining up is not going to be enough. We do need to cash the army out, go for a run by, pick off the tanks. It is going to be an uphill battle here for Scarlet, as she has been heavily droning, trying to recover. Yeah, as that was 25 shirts. Oh boy. Was 25 workers. Scarlet expanding towards Kelzer. Kelzer will have the high ground. Tanks are getting set up as well as he rotates over towards the left-hand side. The creep is strong, don't get me wrong. The creep is looking good. But the army looking better here as the Bio Army does Stim towards the 4th base. We're going to force a cancel. And the Ravagers! Oh, they are exposed. One Ravager goes down. The Queens as well. Good pickups here by Kelzer. Very nice pickoffs. And we do deny the expansion. More Roach Ravagers amassing. Kelzer gaining ground. Pushing towards the third. Yeah, the creep is denied. And Scarlet even getting supply block for a moment there. 6 Overlords on the way. Oh my god. Okay, not bad. The Biles do connect. Biles do connect. Taking down a good chunk of the Marines. Scarlet setting up as well. Massing up more Roach Ravager. Tanks are pushing forward. Stim is done. 1-1 as well. This is the timing that Kelzer was building up towards. Not committing yet. Waiting for additional medevacs before pushing in. And we find the queens. Both queens go down. Ravagers are exposed. We focus down 1. We focus down 2. Very efficient trades here by Kelzer. Scarlet setting up for a counterattack on the right-hand side. Bold move. Rocks are being knocked down. Creep is spreading. The creep is looking quite strong towards that right-hand side, but Kelzer, he doesn't care. He's focusing on his push. Scarlet does get across the map. And Kelzer, do we commit or do we turn around? What do we go for? As Roaches are knocking down that front door. Depots are falling. Kelzer getting in position, but not a lot to defend. And boys are being pulled. And Scarlet can break through at the same time. She defends back at home as well. We take down the Marines, we take down the tanks, and Kelzer is spread thin. Scarlet holds. She doesn't just hold. She's the 4th base on the way, 2-2 as well. Scarlet has recovered from those earlier losses. And we have Burrow on the way, Tunneling Claws as well. Let's go. Tunneling Claw Roaches, you don't often see them in TVZ. Not often. Do appreciate it. As again, going for that split push was worth it. If Kelzer only had to focus on that main front, then most likely he would have broken through onto the base and brought down the hatchery. You can see how low the hatchery got as well. And with that, Scarlet is going to be the first to max out, and Kelzer has to turtle. At this point, he has to turtle up back at home and hope that Scarlet overextends into Kelzer. As Kelzer has the high ground, has the tanks, of course. They are setting up. Kelzer trying to drag the army within tank fire. Scarlet once again setting up a counterattack. Taking a 5th base. Getting up to full base saturation. And behind this, Kelzer does not have a 4th CC. There is no 4th, there is no follow-up. Is committed, does come across the Roaches. Yeah, the turret was done in time. Meanwhile, left-hand side. Oh, the Roaches are not spotted yet. Scarlet going for the massive on Burrow. Catches the tank, catches out the bio as well. The bios don't quite connect, but alas, we catch out the main army nonetheless. Scarlet is breaking through, has to pull back, has to respect the reinforcements. Kelzer about to kick in with 3-3. Does have the upgraded advantage. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure Kelzer is A-Raxing. I mean, because there's just no expansion inside here for Kelzer. Just doubling down on the 3-base all-in. At the same time, SCVs are going down. Scarlet does unburrow in the natural. Getting 11 SCVs. Falls down to medevac. And pushing up this ramp, it's not going to be easy. It's so narrow here. It's such a choke point, and Scarlet can abuse that with her own files. Does buy time, does max out. And it's all or nothing for Kelzer. Does commit in. We commit to the 5 piles. They take down the Liberators. Tanks do stand strong. Kelzer gets on top of the hatchery. Hatchery does go down. He has broken the 3rd. But we have to keep pushing. We have to keep going. As some of the biles do connect, we're getting some of the roaches though. Again, Roach Ravager does not trade well against Bio, not head on, not like this. Not without support. And Kelzer, he's going for the kill. Takes down the third, but we need more damage. Behind this, 4 CCs on the way. So Kelzer is now expanding. Plus 3 attack about to finish up as well. Pushing towards the natural. Scarlet has rebuilt, getting himself the tanks. Does get one. And one tank gets wild. And Kelzer tries to stim forward. And unable to break through. Just one tank behind this. We lost all the libs earlier. But here comes a second tank. Uh-oh. He's gaining ground. Creep is receding. Getting himself with the Ravagers. Oh. Does avoid the plows, and Kelzer, he's slowly pushing forward, getting on top of the Queens as well. Queens are falling, not much Roach Ravager left over. Massive tank volleys going off, and it looks like Kelzer, he is breaking through. The Roaches fall, the Ravagers are exposed. Oh, it's so close. It's so close, Papi. As Kelzer, he still barely holds his own. Still rallying across the map. Most of the Ravagers did fall. 15 more Roaches in production. But again, without the Ravagers, these tanks are just getting so much value. As we're even on top of the ramp. Scarlet has to collapse in, takes down the first tank, and it looks like we just don't have enough bio to protect these tanks. Scarlet holds. Whew. Scarlet barely holds on. Meanwhile, Kelzer taking the hybrid base. Is expanding towards Scarlet. Meanwhile, throughout all this, Scarlet was expanding on the right-hand side. Her economy is still solid, still in 4 bases. But it's still working with Roach Ravager. Now incorporating Lings. Ideally, we do want to work towards Ling Bane Roach Ravager. And towards Hive Tech. Hive is done. Viper's on the way. Let's go. And finally, we can help support the main army. With Ling Speed finishing up as well. We do confirm the planetary. Scarlet now aware. But Kelzer was still quite committed there to that push. Still needs time to recover. 3 finishing up. Scarlet going for the Ultra Cavern. Kelzer taking another base. Was a very close hold earlier. Scarlet holds, but Kelzer is remaxing. He's reestablishing his army, going for a triple jump across the map. Scarlet not quite in position. And finally, Kelzer can help, or can start to focus down on some of the economy. The drones are going down. 13, 14 workers. The hatchery as well. Solid pickup. They're actually low. Oh no! Oh my god, full medevac goes down. Kelzer does overstay his welcome. Suddenly not the best trade. He is pulling Scarlet apart. Getting bases, overlords. Vipers have been spotted. Ghost Academy's on the way. No ghosts yet. The Vipers, no! We catch one! Oh, just the one. But a massive pickup. Now we're going to be able to sit back. Almost gets the other. Decent split there from Kelzer. Getting another base. I believe that's a kill, not a cancel. Now the hatchery goes down. Scarlet taking a ninja base towards the top right. He's sneaking out another hatchery. Mass expanding. And Kelzer is back in this. Still a very tense back and forth. Very tense. Scarlet's still unfortunately working with 2-2. Well, +3 carapace about to finish up. And getting out of Roaches into Lings, into Ling Bane, and Ultras as well. And we're looking to shut down this planetary. Yeah, not enough bio. Kelzer, he's out of position. The planetary is gonna go down. At the same time, Kelzer pushing on the right-hand side, but he's working through so much creep. Lose the base. And can we deny a base of Scarlet? As we have so much ground to cover. He's just sending it right through the center, right down mid. Let's force a cancel. Which is okay. Scarlet down to 1 Viper. Lacking energy. That's a hefty amount of fire. Not enough failings. Ultra's coming in. Marauders, they can focus it down. It looks like the Roach Ravager is going to be enough. We do force back the Bio Army. Just barely. Kills Master Tree. At the same time, we do snipe a base. Hatchery does go down. Hatchery does fall. Both players on a low worker count. 58 workers for Scarlet, 42 for Kelzer, plus mules. That's the main, by the way. The main base did float over. No planetary. But Scarlet did maintain those ultras. Keep it alive. Kindness plating, I believe, is done. Ultras are building up, and where are those ghosts? We had the Ghost Academy earlier. We have 3 ghosts on the way. I believe they're not ready yet. So the army is vulnerable to ultras. This guy looking to collapse here on the left-hand side once again. This time Kelzer has a better position with these 3 tanks. We'll take down the ultras, but we'll lose control of the base. Only 3 SCVs. 3 SCVs go down. Alongside 2 of those tanks. Kelzer rotating over on the right-hand side. Scarlet does have the top right hatchery, but there's no mining. There's no saturation. So Kelzer cutting back against those ultras. No fungals to worry about. Can snipe at least 1. Does get 1, does get both. Massive power bombs. The medevacs are low. Medevacs are very low, but they will barely escape. 2 medevacs go down. Same time, Kelzer dropping once again. A very intense back and forth. Scarlet trying to keep up. We'll save the base. We'll save the hatchery. Oh, these medevacs are so low. 1 power bomb will kill like 4 or 5 medevacs on the right-hand side. 1 power bomb is all we need. Infestors on the way. Let's go. Scarlet now has access to fungals. Can now lock down the army. Or at least attempt to. Kelzer still trying to secure himself as well. Ghosts have arrived. Oh, that's a lot of ghosts. It's a lot of ghosts there on the left-hand side. At that forward base. I mean, high risk, high reward. They can get a lot done, or they can be fungled. Kelzer has to be careful. Scarlet getting ready. Getting ready to pounce. Hatcher's going to be targeted. Oh! Just have a medevac. Not bad. Infestors have arrived. The fungals! Yeah, we catch a big chunk of those ghosts. 3 ghosts go down instantly. And even a couple more. A massive catch. The fungals are unreal, and Scarlet completely shuts down the main army and just can keep on pushing from here. Scarlet has done it. Yeah, 1 fight is sometimes all it takes. And Kelzer plummets in supply. Ay, ay, ay. Wasn't ready for the infestors, wasn't ready for the fungals. 18 SCVs go down. And Scarlet is still maxed out. That CMP is what we already fungled. Oh, the mines. Not bad. Massive mine connections. Bases are still falling. Kelzer is still trying to hold on. Trying to force Scarlet back. And Scarlet doesn't have the best economy either, but has reestablished the triangular third. And Kelzer barely has any workers left. Still pushing in. The base is low. But we are down to how many ghosts? What, 4 or 5 ghosts? Barely alive as well. The minefield has potential. Scarlet does overextend, but really we're just Kelzer's hoping that maybe Scarlet makes a mistake at this point. As the hatchery does fall. And Kelzer is taking another base. If given time, Kelzer can remax. That's the natural floated over. Natural has floated. But again, Scarlet does have the splat on her side. Ducklings, they hit the right hand side, and Kelzer not looking too happy there on cams. I mean, again, this was a very, very back and forth game, and there were definitely moments where Kelzer was ahead, especially after the open. Remember, 25 drone kills was insane. But Scarlet, she had a crazy comeback when she pushed on the right hand side, went for a split push, like pulled Kelzer apart, shut down the initial all in, and then chaos ensued. There was chaos all over the place, man, everywhere. Base is falling left and right. Even here, Scarlet loses the hatchery. Kelzer also denied the CC. Here we go. Here comes the mass ultra-based army. Alright, just going off. Scarlet doesn't want to throw away her army pushing into a siege line. Don't blame her. Waiting for 3-3. And what's a little bit scary now, actually, is that Kelzer has a pretty comparable army size. When it comes to the disparity in supplies, a lot of that is in workers. What I will say is that Kelzer still has a chance. Doesn't really have a lot of longevity here in this game. What I mean by that is that if we lose a fight, then we can't really rebuild, but we do have a fight in us. Ultras are pushing forward, been exposed. Lightning Cloud's gonna be thrown down. And we have control of the left-hand base. We deny the CC, we deny the mining. Chasing back Kelzer. At the same time, he's pushing on the right-hand side, but Scarlet is not going to stop, not going to slow down. We chase Kelzer all the way back to the natural. The Ultras do overextend for a moment. We do pull back. At the same time, 20 SCVs go down. Kelzer going for essentially a base trade. Lost 2 CCs. And does get a hatchery. Hatchery goes out, but we need more. We need more than this. We only have one medevac. As Kelzer is down to a 1 base economy. Trying to re-expand. Scarlet likewise remaxing. 3-3 about to kick in. Scarlet has eyes on the main army of Kelzer. They'll see thanks to the Ling. I'm not too sure if we have any infestors left. I did see an infestor earlier. Maybe just the one. Without Fungals, it can be quite difficult engaging with the main army. We do snipe a Ravager. Almost an Ultra. Vipers do come together. And Kelzer still can take a fight. Especially if we can avoid those Fungals. A lot of Marines behind this. Things they come in from behind. We collapse on the main army. Scarlet going for the surround. A brutal blinding clouds as well. And here come the Fungals. We lock down the main army. We clean it all up. And Scarlet takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. A big sigh of relief there from Scarlet. That was an intense game. That was very back and forth. Again, it was a brutal start. As a reminder, it all began with Scarlet losing in this matchup. We'll see what we have in store. Supporting in the top right-hand corner, we have Kelzer for Platinum R8. And in the bottom left, we have Scarlet for Shopify. Once again, going to be a 15-15. We could be seeing another Roach-committed build here from Scarlet, once again on Dynasty. Would make sense just to play safe. For those that are curious, as we're going for the gold! I haven't seen this against Terran. I'll be honest, I've seen this against Protoss. Definitely, this is commonplace. This is the standard against Protoss. But this also goes to show like how little ZVT I've seen on Dynasty as well, as we're going for the gold against Kellizer. For those that are curious, we see a lot of all-ins on Dynasty just because, specifically in ZVT and ZVP, the Protoss and Terran players can take the gold base quite happily, quite freely. Zerg players cannot. So because of that, they have an economic disadvantage coming into a macro game. So very frequently we have all-ins, and this is the beginning of an all-in. As Scarlet is taking the gold base onto the right-hand side, it is very exposed. It does allow you to take the gold minerals and the high-yield gas geyser as well, which can help facilitate for something like a Roach all-in and a Roach push. That's what we often see against Protoss players, at least. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case here against Kellizer, against a Terran. We'll see, though. We shall see. If Scarlet does add a bit of an adjustment to the build. We are going to be settling in. Again, that's also why Kellizer picked this map as well. As a reminder, there are no vetoes. No vetoes here. Here comes the main node over towards the gold. Gas is being taken, is being prioritized. As Kellizer opens up with a Rax Expand. And is going for the gold. Going Marine first, actually. Interesting. Wait, did Kellizer skip his SCV Scout? Okay. So because of this setup, because of the Marine first, that means we won't be able to apply any Reaper aggression to the gold base. We also haven't scattered the gold either. Meanwhile, there's that Roach Warren, as we did mention. This is most likely for a Roach all-in. Roach Warren is on the way, and Kellizer is currently in the dark. Now, should be going for an add-on swap for Hellions, and the Hellions will give a lot more information. But until then, Kellizer is playing blind. As Scarlet does confirm the gold. Does confirm the gold base. Behind this, Kellizer going for a 1-1-1, going for a delayed 3rd TC. Very safe. This should be for Banshees. We should be setting up for a Tech Lab on the Rax to go for an add-on swap. Ooh, but that is a second Rax on the way. There is still that Tech Lab, but because of the second Rax, that might just be for Stim, which means no Banshees, which means Kellizer is going to be exposed. Roaches are amassing as we speak. Hellions finally going to be moving out. But Kellizer is vulnerable. Yeah, we're going for the Tech Lab. We're going for Stim. We're not going for Banshees. Roaches are finally revealed. This is the first move out that Kellizer has gone for this entire game. And with this, Scarlet can either push towards the main or rotate over towards the gold and deny mining. Deny mining at the gold. That is the plan. And behind this, Scarlet is droning up. Scarlet is droning up, making way over, denying mining time here at the gold. Hellions being intercepted. Big shout out to Chet Nitro in the chat. Papi thank you so much for that. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Welcome to WTL, to World Team League. We're near the end of the night, though. Near the end of the round. Hellions are called out. Ravagers have arrived, knocking down that front door. Yeah, the repairs are late. And Kellizer is stuck on one base economy. And again, Kellizer was so greedy this game. It was a little bit shocking, to be honest. Again, all-ins are a little bit more commonplace on Dynasty, but Kellizer had no idea. He gets supply block. Boys are being pulled. Ay, ay, ay. And Scarlet is all over him. 5 SCV kills. We have the one Marauder. It's going to be targeted down. Ravagers are finally being dealt with. Kellizer holds, but again, he's still on one base economy, and this entire time, Scarlet has been droning. We're droning up. We're saturating our bases. Just the initial Roach Ravager aggression just to gain an advantage. And one advantage. Scarlet isn't just on 3 bases. We have the gold as well, and the Restressing Gas Geyser. Lair is on the way. Scarlet is in control. And this is just a brutal start for Kellizer. He's going to try to recover. He's going to try and reestablish control of the gold. But Scarlet is so comfortable right now. It's so there's nothing really to threaten Scarlet. Unlike previously with all those Hellions, I mean, they just got shut down. So no Hellion harass, no Banshees, no drop play either. We have the Viking, sure, but that's really just it. as now we have our first 2 medevacs on the way. Oof. Viking falls, we save the Overlord just barely. I'm loving the use of the Overlords to spread creep. Just aggressively spreading creep out on the map. And I believe the first 2 medevacs have arrived, so Kelzer can now go for drop play, but this is just so late, so delayed. And this needs to get damage done. We're making our way towards the gold. At the same time, Scarlet also rocks up the gold base of Kelzer. On the vials! Oh my god. If you catch 4 SCVs, not bad. At the same time, Kelzer does rock up at the 4th, at the gold even. But roaches are in position, and we will shut this down. We drop his force back. We deny more mining time. 5 SCVs. And Scarlet is about to max out. Oof. 6 SCVs back. Can we even get the tank? We can! The tank goes down. Brutal pickoff. Not much less to defend. Meanwhile, Kelzer is committed. We have to get damage done. We have to go all in. Top of the roaches, they get us around. Tank has the high ground. We have Queens coming in for a flank as well. And we will completely shut Kelzer down. GG gets called. Well played. And Scarlet will take the 2-0. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Also incorporating that Roach Ravager initial rush on this map, on Dynasty, even against Terran. And working quite well. Working quite well. And I do have to put a little bit of onus on Kelzer in game number 2 just because there was no scouting, there was no vision. As a result, we weren't ready for any kind of Roach aggression. That's why I was shocked to see that it was a 2-on-1. And we were skipping out on Banshees, going for medevacs instead. It was crazy. And Scarlet did punish Kelzer quite hard. Game 1 was more back and forth. Game 1 was wild. And I almost feel, I feel like game 1 was Kelzer's to lose. Remember, he had such a strong start, and then things go crazy. Things go crazy, things go chaotic. GG, well played. Congratulations to Scarlet and to Shopify for claiming the series 5-1. GG, well played. And with that, we're going to be getting ready for tomorrow's match. We have Offside Esports versus Starlight Twinkle and Team Liquid versus Berserker Esports. This will be played out tomorrow in less than 24 hours. Alas, this is merely day 1 of round 9 of WTL. Tomorrow we have day 2, and day 3 will be on Sunday. As a reminder, a bit of a PSA, there is no WTL on Saturday. Saturday is WTL free. It's going to be a free day. And with that, we're going to be wrapping up. We're going to be wrapping up. Again, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. Hope you all had a great time. Hope you all had a great evening here at WTL. Of course, there's also other events going on. I believe the Wardy event is still ongoing, so you can check it out over on his channel. Likewise, we're going to be live tomorrow in less than 24 hours with some more World Team League tomorrow and on Sunday as well. Every day here on the CranKy Ducklings, we have plenty of StarCraft. So do consider following, do consider checking us out. Exclamation mark socials in the chat if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. We are nearing the end. We're nearing the end of WTL. This is round 9, and there are 11 rounds in total. 11 rounds left in WTL. We're nearing the end after the 11 rounds. For those that are curious, there's going to be a playoff bracket as well with the top 8 teams. I believe it's top 8. So the top teams are going to be seeded into those playoffs, and it's going to be an intense weekend of StarCraft. Yet to be announced. I do remember that for this season, SC Boy wanted to make the playoffs live. They wanted to make it a live event. I think specifically for the finals. I don't think for the entirety of the playoffs, because that'd be a lot of flights and a lot of players. But they do have plans to have some kind of offline event in some way, shape, or form. We'll see if that does come to pass or if it falls through. We'll see. We'll keep an eye out on the announcements on SC Boy. Do look forward to it. Do look forward to it. Exciting times. Of course, when it comes to upcoming events, there's also the Esports World Cup. It is going to be next month. It has been sneaking up on us, and the World Finals is on the horizon here. That's what everyone is getting ready for. That's what everyone is getting informed for as well. Players like Hero, for example, are just hiding all their builds and avoiding any kind of online play. You have Clem and Estrella and Trigger traveling to South Korea, traveling to Korea and practicing and bootcamping together. there's a lot of intense training going on right now, and wish everyone the best of luck. Wish them all the best of luck. Until then, we're going to be wrapping up. Here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. Saturday's Lights Laddering Day. Maybe. Unironically, maybe. I might ladder on Saturday. It's KSL in the afternoon, and then my evening is free. So we'll see. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more World Team League action. Otherwise, we'll see you guys when we see you. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.